And there we go. Okay. Hopefully everything's working. It normally has some sort of error, but we'll see what it's like. Welcome everybody to a Friday hobby hangout. We have a load of you who have been joining us since almost 11 o'clock this morning. Yeah, it's been dedication to say the least. Furious George was the first today. And I think Karanis and Armour Freak and a few others. Who else was early? Vaughan Killian was fairly early. Blood Company, Akaria, Orc Boys, Horny Morny, and then Brain Spider and everyone else. So we'll go through who else has joined in a moment. Joining me on the hangout tonight is Mr. Pink.
Hey everyone.
I like how you stopped and then looked at the camera and then said hello. That was so professional.
I'm all about the drama.
Well, it was there. And Michelangelo.
Hello.
Or Cool Smoking Mike, who's too cool to be on the internet visually from Fridays.
Get my hair done.
What,
as you're get a soft, silky voice instead.
As you're on the hangout, you're getting your hair done right now.
It's a joke, but never mind. Move on.
You should have said yes. we could have all voted on what hairstyle you have. We are talking tonight about the General's Handbook number 2, because that was announced and some cool stuff to talk about there and the allies that go with it. We are then going to talk about Space Marines, because we've got loads of information for that, and it's pretty exciting how many different combinations you can do and some of the dirty tactics that are involved with that. We'll talk about Mike's list that he didn't come up with and he said he's not going to use, but I think he really should. We'll talk about that later as well, so remind me about that, Pink. And
yep,
because Mike never reminds me. What else were we going to do? What else are we talking about? Anything else? Any questions for any of us? Ask away, and I'm going to get on with some painting in a little bit. I've got some gloss varnish to add to the custodians, and there's more. I'm sure there's more. I made a spreadsheet with Pink last night. That was fun. In fact, let me see if I can bring it up now. How do I bring up stuff? There we go. So obviously you can't see everything, but Pink told me how all of this sort of stuff worked. So you can make so this Primaris Captain, it has the auto bolt rifle or the stalker bolt rifle as an option. So depending on what you pick, it changes the points automatically and adds up the totals automatically and so on. And then on the right hand side, I've got the stat profile with all the rules. So I can print this off and playing games will be much easier. And I've got that for all of them because there's so many different bits of equipment, and half of the book is, well, more than half of the book is for normal Space Marines, and the other fraction is for Primaris. And I was getting confused with what weapon was for what. So I've done this so that I can easily see that this dude can have those options. And then down here, you've got the Primaris Lieutenants who can have those options, and so on. It goes through the entire list. And to do that, I had to make a full list of all of the different weapons. And I've also written down all of their stats. So that was fun, wasn't it, Pink?
Yeah, that was the whole of last night when I was supposed to be getting on with some work.
It was worth it,
we've got
though.
to sort it now. Have you finally decided on an army?
I've made a rough list, which is probably going to change by tomorrow. But at the minute, my 1,000-point list is a librarian, a grav captain dude. My troops is 1 or 2 units of intercessors. So it'll be 1 10-man unit or 2 5-mans. It makes no difference. 1 10-man unit of reavers with close combat weapons and grav shoots. And an aggressor unit, because they're awesome, and a dreadnought. So for 1,000 points, there's quite a nice mix of miniatures in there. But I'm going to tweak it, because we'll talk about the combinations that you can do later, and combined with chapter tactics and that sort of stuff. So let us go through the chat. Let's see who's here, other than the ones we've already mentioned. We have Brain Spider. Welcome, Brain Spider. Robbie Cohen, Typhus the Wanderer. Glorious plagues to you all. Thank you, Typhus. John Booth. Welcome, John. Thor Delim de Caladai. Welcome. Rower. Johnny Rockstar. Oh, don't skip on me now, please. No, it skipped. I apologise. Fellhate. Sean Jewett. Relics, this is from Rubico, and relics look really powerful and just what Space Marines need to stay valid. Yes, we'll talk about those as well because there's some awesome stuff. Tim Cafferty, welcome. G Steeler 11. James Jones. Furious George made it. Awesome. So Furious George was the first one in the chat at 11 o'clock earlier, and he is now here.
That's some dedication right there.
Oric Lovegod and Big McDanskull, welcome to both of you. And Kablams. Right, so there's a bunch of you here already. Let's start with... Oh, and one Spaz 11 made it as well. And Slippy Tiger. There we go. 2 more to add on at the end there. Okay, let's bring up the community page. Right, so General's Handbook number 2. So it's your first look inside the covers, which is pretty exciting because we've been doing a lot of 40k recently. We're still going to be doing 40k, obviously, but it's nice to be able to have a little bit of Age of Sigmar update, an injection of Age of Sigmar. Welcome, Ryan Benfield, Tim Lawrence, and Homish1. So it says the game's changing again. So obviously, when they brought out the first book, the game became amazing because we could then play competitively and with points again. So Harvey Savage, welcome, and Red Cuffs with the howling mad cat sulking upstairs. That's not a good thing, Red Cuffs, but welcome. They've released a contents list, and all I can say so far is the best thing about this is, where's it gone? Allegiance abilities, Wanderers. So and also Darkling Covens. So between those two, one of those will be my next Age of Sigmar army for the channel, and I'm thinking it's going to be Wanderers. If there are no models for it fairly soon, I'll do Wanderers because I'm going to do a really nice converted army made out of bits. So I'm going to need a lot of hooded heads from the Ranger set. However, let's have a quick look through the contents and see what's changed. Surreal, welcome Surreal. What is this? This is the new, well, an update to the General's Handbook, and this is just the contents page. So we've got...
You must be quite excited by that, Mike. There's a lot of Skaven stuff in there from what I can see there in terms of like abilities.
Well, me and Sam were discussing it earlier, the things that you made about alter with lists now. So I'm trying to think what it was actually called. It's not allies, is it?
Yes, allies.
Oh, it is allies. That it means that I may be able to mix my list up a bit, because originally I think I was just going to go all clan scryer, but then I think that meant that I couldn't take storm vermin then. So it's going to be interesting to see what options are now available for mixing things up.
We'll talk about the allies in a minute, but it definitely gives you more options, more scope. We're going to see more variety of armies because both of us were saying we're kind of stuck. We're limited to what choices are available in our army lists at the moment. And having some variety without making it, pick and choose everything is definitely a good thing. So the contents-wise, we've got a load of new battle plans that are in here. Multiplayer games, they're expanding on the multiplayer rules. So they're putting Triumph and Treachery in, which we see here. Triumph and Treachery was always a good thing, and map campaigns as well for Triumph and Treachery. Narrative play, so they've expanded that with more battle plans as well as matched play. So there's battle plans for all 3 ways to play. And then there's a whole section on the Forces of the Realm, which is the huge host of allegiance abilities. So they'll have updated ones for the grand factions, as well as all these individual ones for things like Darkling Covens and Dispossessed and Free Peoples. There's a lot of stuff here. So bringing all of those armies hopefully up to the same level playing field as the rest of the armies which have got books right now. So hopefully that's what this is going to do. Let's have a look in the chat. Kiblams, my Pestilence rats are getting the bits missing from the battle tome, yes. And Typhus, our clan Pestilence, want adorable rats. We're talking about rats, actually. Rachel's new name, if anybody hasn't seen the battle report. What was her name? Drain Rats for Storm Vermin.
Yes, drain rats, there was mice, there was quite a few names.
Drain Rats is my favourite one. So from now on, everybody needs to call Storm Vermin Drain Rats, and we'll hopefully get the name changed. I'd go with one of the Chaos Demon lists, so you could do either 40k or AOS. Yes, that's a good way. I personally don't like demons, so Jack will do Nurgle Demons. He's already got some, so he will do both of those. Potentially could do Slanesh. That would be the only demons that I would enjoy actually doing. because there's a bit more to them than just a blob. I know Mike likes the Zinch, the pink horrors, but I think they're just blobs with arms.
Yeah, but that's the only thing
I'm
with
going to
with
do the
Zinch,
corn
is that's
stuff.
the only
It's
models
supposed
I actually
to be a
liked.
bit release.
Say again, Mike.
The pink horror is the only things I actually like for Zinch, I think, and maybe a sorcerer or something that was there. The pink horror one on a disc or something, but the rest of the stuff in the army, I'm really not that keen on.
Yeah. And what were you saying, Pink? I think Pink's delayed.
I'm hoping it's pink and not me.
No, it's Pink.
Yeah, let me try and restart my internet, guys. I'll jump back on in a sec.
So the chat, Surreal saying, how's Phil? Phil hasn't contacted me over the last few days, so I think he must still be out of it completely at the moment, unfortunately. I don't know what's happening, to be fair. So hopefully he's getting better, but he could just be resting. He's also saying, did you finally aggravate Rachel to the point she doesn't do live streams anymore? Well, she didn't do the Wednesday. She doesn't normally do the Wednesdays. It's very rare she joins us on those. But she was on the last Friday and the Friday before that. Today, she said she wanted to have a break because she's very stressed out with work. She's got a very busy job and she has to do a lot of work. So she wanted to just chill out this evening. So we've left her to do what she wants. Drain rats with rusty spoons, says Brain Spider. So that's the report. Yeah, Redcliff is asking about Phil as well. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see what's happening. Is that the battle report where Magic Mike's Lord couldn't hit a barn door? Yes. Watch that battle report. Patrick saying, did you see C for death ones would get a discount on max units? If demons, we'll get that too. That will be horrible. We're going to look at the death one in a moment as well, because I haven't even looked at the death profile, the death update from the community, so I want to read it. But we'll see what that is in a moment.
As far as I'm aware, that applies to every army, because it was just saying how they wanted to make horde armies in general more viable.
Right. Okay. So that's what it was. Okay. Surreal, tell her from now on, no live stream. Not got. I don't think that makes sense. Never mind. Brain Spider, I would like to get a new Slaanesh Demon army, but I'd have to proxy everything since I dislike all of the official GW miniatures. The miniatures, I like the older range more for the Slaanesh models, but the, what did we look at last week? Raging Heroes. Raging Heroes have got an awesome range of miniatures that can be used for Slaanesh, so that's why I was thinking if of any of the Demon armies I would do, it would probably be that one. So let's keep going through this. So there's a lot of content. Yep. New ways to play, new allegiance abilities, tons of new battle plans, allies, updated units, and more. So they're going to be adding open war cards, which will make the games even more variable. Siege battles, which sounds interesting. Allies, which they're covering today. So allies-wise, this was pretty awesome for me. I'm really happy with this. So this is the list. This is the limit that you're allowed. So in a 1,000-point game, you've got your normal 1 to 4 hero leaders, 2+ battle line, 0 to 2 artillery, and 0 to 2 behemoths, other units, any. But you're now allowed a fifth of your army to be allies. So in a 1,000-point army, 200 points can go towards allies. And they've said that that could be different depending on which faction that is. So, for example, in an Iron Jaws army, I might have access to other stuff within the Destruction Grand faction. So it might not be all of it. I might not be able to put ogres in my list, but I might be able to have all of the Aurochs, like up to 200 points worth of Auroch units in my Iron Jaws. For the Death Lords, they said because they are Lords of the Death, they can choose anything from Death to put in their list for allies. So I think overall this is going to expand massively on what we can take in our armies and change things up a lot. What do you think, Pink?
I think it's a great idea. I like the idea, especially like some of the more niche ones, a bit like what you've got with your Iron Jaws, and you feel sometimes like you haven't got much options. It'd be nice to be able to throw a giant in there or something like that. The one where I can see, though, is someone like, sorry, Luke, I'm going to call you out on this. He's going to run something like a corn list and then throw in a Zinch sorcerer.
Yeah.
And then, oh, yeah, now it's fluffy, it fits. Whereas before, you would lose all of your unique special benefits if you were to go out a theme. Now they've effectively said you can go out a theme by 20% and to doing that.
Well, even that, they might restrict it because obviously the Chaos Gods don't all like each other. So if you've got one that's completely opposed, they might say, I don't know which ones they are off the top of my head, but let's say Khorne and Slaanesh hate each other. Khorne can never ally with Slaanesh, but they could have 200 points worth of allies from one of the other Chaos gods, pantheons. So maybe they'll do it like that. I don't know, but that would be a good way to balance it.
Interesting way of doing
it. Horny Morny, I'm interested in Flesh Eater Court's new stuff. That's probably on the death page, so we'll get to that. Surreal saying no Game of Thrones or Doctor Who. Don't know. I'm really confused. Am I in a different conversation? Vaughan Killian, welcome, Vaughan.
I think they're talking spoilers. They're saying no spoilers.
Ah, okay, yeah, no spoilers for that, please. So, Brain Spider saying Raging Heroes and Creature Caster. So, between the two of those, you can create a Slaanesh army very easily. That's cool. Tedious Payload, not started AOS, but really tempted to do a Flesh Walker army and use a Dark Eldar Homunculus as a converted vampire, like an old school Necrarch.
What is Flesh Walker?
Flesh Eater. Flesh Eater, I think. Yeah, that's awesome. I always thought of doing a Flesh Eater Courts army using the Dark Elf range. So using the Dark Elf Corsairs as ghouls and then having the vampires as whatever they are, the Archons as vampires as well. So yeah, Tim Lawrence is interested in Dark Elf abilities. Overall, I think that's pretty good. Khorne hates Slaanesh because he wants killing just for killing, and then Slaanesh wants you to enjoy it when you kill. This is true. Allies are going to be particularly useful in light of the new Allegiance abilities. We're going to go into these further with future previews, but armies like the Host of Slaanesh or the Dispossessed will be able to make full use of powerful, unique skills while having a range of choices available when writing lists for match play. Similarly, you'll be able to combine powerful Allegiance-specific battle line units with allies to make for focused lists made up for the models you want to play. This is a major change for all match play games, whether you're looking to compete at a tournament or just use some new tricks in battle with friends. I'm happy with all of that. I'm going to look forward to see what I can expand for the Iron Jaws army, because the biggest thing I've got is the Maw Crusher. And Rachel, I mean, I've done an unboxing of... Patrick donated a Dreadsaurian, or the money to buy a Dreadsaurian, and picked it up the very next day. And I took it out of the bag, and it's the biggest model I've ever seen, like in person. I've never had a model that big, so I'm pretty jealous of Rachel. It's massive, and I've put it next to some of the models to show the scale of this thing, and it's absolutely amazing. So I'm excited to see what sort of stuff you can ally into the list. We'll get that video out soon though of the unboxing, because we're going to do a whole series on that, I think.
That'd be crazy. That thing's worth that many points, is it?
It's 400 points. It's dirt cheap.
Isn't it like it's less than your Maw Crusher?
Yeah, exactly. My Maw Crusher is 520, and it's like half the size. And Red Cuffs, no, if Rachel makes a no-show, she gets no Game of Thrones or Doctor Who. I think that's what they meant. Got you. I can't stop her from watching that. It's either 10 or 12 codices by Christmas, I think. Yes. I think they've called them codexes, because I was confused with whether it was codices or codexes. And they just said it's codexes. It's the 41st millennium or whatever. We'll call it codexes. But I still don't think I think codices is probably right. Whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's the right terminology, isn't it?
GW just going, we'll call it what we want. We're going to call this bog roll. We're going to have 10 bog rolls out by Christmas. And you're going to buy it for £30 a book. Typhus is off. He'll be back later. Thank you, Typhus. For the greater good, that's what she said. Don't know what in relation that was. Right, so there's a load of chat going off. Next, we will go on to the Grand Alliance death, because this is a hobby hangout, so I do need to get on to doing some hobby. Otherwise, I'll chat all night. I want to say thank you as well, actually. We had a bunch of people sign up to Premium on the website before we move on. So thank you to everybody who has been on the website. Even if you've made an account for free, it gives you access to the extra videos that we create on wargameonline.com. But all of you have been making the Premium accounts. Definitely helps out. So thank you very much for that. And for everyone who's been donating money, not necessarily in the live chats, but we've had donations outside of the live chats. So thank you again to everybody who has done that. Size isn't everything, says Skiblams. It isn't. No, it isn't.
Said no woman ever.
No. Right, we've got Grand Alliance Death in the General's Handbook 2017. So commanders of Death armies have a lot to look forward to. That's good. So you followers of the Great Necromancer can expect updated command traits, artifacts, and allegiance abilities. You'll be able to raise a variety of powerful and versatile armies. So when they say raising, I imagine that's still the same system where you have to pay for it beforehand, because I think that's what negated the power level of some of these summoning armies and characters before. When do we get Go on.
It's nice to see Death getting a little bit of attention, because especially when you consider how many order codexes and even chaos and stuff like that, I think they've really sort of been left behind a little bit. What they got one battle tome out, and that was even before the full set of all the abilities and artifacts and everything kind of made its way onto it. So it's nice to get a bit of attention for a little bit.
I think everything's going to get the update now. I think we've had the first, surge of 40k. Now we're looking at all the other Age of Sigmar armies, and I'm just hoping the elves get an update, because they've always been my favourite. And as much as I like Iron Jaws, I'd probably be playing Wood Elves or Dark Elves more than anything else, and have some nice dragons and stuff for them. We have Oracle of God. GW also said the codex and miniatures would be affordable. Has a 1 mini release of over $35 and a codex of $50. Still like the number 12 better. Okay. Oh, boys, when do we get the premium option? So the Premium Plus, we're waiting on Phil. When Phil's back and he's back to doing stuff for the channel, then we'll look at what we can do for the Premium. We also need to get a bunch of stuff to give away for the Premium. So we'll look at that. It will be probably a monthly giveaway of some sort of thing. It could even be stuff, like I said, between £50 and £100. We obviously will be buying that ourselves, or we'll be getting stuff, anything we get sent to us that we're not going to use, we will give them away. So that Premium Plus account will be for that. And I've made it for the normal Premium. I've done another tutorial tonight. It's normally up by 8 o'clock, but it's quite a long one. It's a 35-minute video on painting an ugly little psyker dude. So that will go up after this show. I'm going to upload it and then get it up on the website later on. So that's for the Premium this week. Brain Spider, everybody needs a Premium account. Make Sam rich. I would love to, first of all, be comfortable. So
make Sam moderately sufficient.
Make me sufficient. No, the money goes back into the channel at the moment and everything that we're doing. Eventually, we would like it to get to the point where I can do this and say it's an actual job, and then get people like Pink or Mike or anybody else involved and have them doing this as a job as well. So that's the aim. We'll see what happens. Every time GW says something will be affordable, I am thinking they mean affordable with GW staff discount. Yes. Yeah, this is true. When we will see a Start Collecting Dark Elves box, I think when they get re-released, and Big McDanskill saying elves need it now. There's a lot of love for elves.
Well, you were really anticipating the launch of the elf line, weren't you? When it first came out, you were saying that elves was going to be your army of choice, and it's just not materialised yet, has it?
I've been waiting for a long time for an elf army, and it's just not. That's why I said, if they don't release them soon, I will just get Harlequins and all the different Wood Elf bits I've been eyeing up, and I'm going to create my own Wood Elf army, and I'll just play it like that instead. But I'll be annoyed because...
When we still at the store, when you were about you wanted to do the elf list?
Yeah.
Definitely been a long time.
So that's been a long time. What was this? I'd like it if GW could do a build it yourself start collecting box. Something that Warlord Games did on their Bolt Action line. I don't know if it's all of their stuff, but I did notice that you can pretty much pay a certain price. I think it's like £100 or £90, and you can pick different options to put in there. So if GW did that would be quite nice. And you just select the HQs, the troops, and all that sort of stuff that you want, and get a discount. Or just flat out said, if you spend over a certain amount, you get 20% off, or even 10% off. What the independent retailers are doing. If you spend £100 at GW, they'll give you 20% off. That would be cool. Notice all of the troops with transports on the GW web store have been discontinued. Yes, that
was only for a limited release, wasn't it?
Yeah, they do those sort of things from time to time. So when they pop up, you grab them. Same as the box sets that have the kits in there for like a fraction of the price. Just pick them up when they're cheap. If every subscriber on here got a premium account, it'd be over 15,000 a month for WGO. Really? That doesn't sound right. Oh, do you mean on the subscriber count? Yeah, if every one of our subscribers probably. But yeah, if everybody in this chat got a what do you call it? Well, we've got 67 people watching. So my math, that's about 180 quid a month. That's still good. That still helps out. That pays for the bills. That pays for the studio space. So yeah. Oracle of God, when you buy multiple copies of a unit on the website, there is no discount for volume. No. And that's something they might do. The thing is, they keep the value. That's the other thing. And I think that's why you probably won't see that much discount, because if you sell your Games Workshop stuff, it holds its value. And that's probably partly due to the fact that Games Workshop doesn't do massive discounts. They're very rare when they do them. So your stuff will always hold its value. You know that if you buy 10 Tactical Marines, they're like 25, 30 quid. Or 25. Yeah. So if you're selling them, you can sell them for about half that or more. So I think that's a good thing for the hobby as well, especially people who don't necessarily buy brand new products every single week or every month. If you buy something and then sell it, you can get a decent amount back for it and then buy something else.
Or people who change their army often, Sam?
I've not changed an army for a while. You know, it's been a long time since I've switched. Redcuffs, I'll join a premium when I get a proper job. Promise. Thank you, Redcuffs. And Simini is here. Welcome, Simini. Okay, let's carry on with this because we're never going to get to me painting. And I know people are desperate to see me put gloss coat on gems. So death factions hugely benefit from the new allies, able to harness powerful allegiance abilities and battle line choices while making full use of great synergies available within the Grand Alliance. So Death Lords, for example, can make use of powerful Mortarchs and use a strong core of Morghast Archai while allying in a monster like the Terrorgeist. That would otherwise be difficult to summon. Similarly, many Death factions can add a caster like Archon the Black or a Handy Necromancer to their forces, providing key magical support. What is this then? I don't understand. Oh, okay. This is all of the units in the Death Lords unit in the list, telling you that you're only allowed one each of those. And this was the problem before. In the Death Lords list, if you wanted to do a Death Lords allegiance, you were limited to one of each of the characters, and then you could take the Morghast Archai or the Morghast Harbingers. That isn't a Death army. That isn't a really good allegiance. So now they've put in the allies list for them is Dead Walkers, Flesh Eater Courts, Death Rattle, Death Mages, Nighthaunt, and Soul Blight, which is massively expanded. So they had to do that.
Whereas most people would probably use the allies to bring in, say, like a big beastie or something like that they wanted. They probably go the other way and use it to bring multitudes of troops that otherwise they wouldn't get.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just options again. It's Furious George, any plans for a dedicated forum on the website? Not everyone digs signing up to having their data mined by Facebook. I would love to do it. The problem we've got at the moment is we need to upgrade the servers to make the website faster anyway. So for that side of things, we need to update it because obviously we're putting a lot of videos on there fairly regularly. And every time we put one on there, it seems to strain it. And we have to keep doing constant updates and patching things and checking that stuff's working. I think once we've got the website to a point where it's fast enough, we'll definitely look at adding a forum. But then obviously that adds more to do, more to monitor, but definitely is something we've talked about doing. We just need to look into it a little bit more. No painting for you, Mr. One Stroke Wonder, says Cyril. Death needs better battle line troops. I really like zombies and skeletons. I think they were the two that you're allowed. Welcome, Coyote.
Zombies are horrendously good.
So Patrick has just put Natasha should now be 100 points cheaper, and then corrected it with Nagash. I think we should call Nagash Natasha from now on.
Gender equality.
Yeah.
Warhammer.
In death, you become Natasha. Surreal. Yeah, Sam, you sell that data yourself. If we don't do mining data. Johnny
You give it
Rockstar.
for free.
Give it for free. Johnny Rockstar, GW's policies changed during a shop contest. I walked out with over £200 of stuff from painting contests. The following year, I got a keyring because they didn't want to devalue the product.
When, out of interest, then, when were you doing it that they were giving you?
That would have been when we started.
Were giving you merchandise.
When I was younger, they used to give away all sorts of stuff. It was amazing. Then when I started working at Games Workshop, you couldn't do anything. It was like, can I give away a model? No, yeah, you can't do that. Oh, okay. No worries then. What can I do? Well, you can create a poster and give that out to people. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm sure people will flock to the store to get a free poster that I've just made up in Word or something. It's like the way to encourage people into your store. I play Carriage on Overlords, but we only got one battle line. Yeah, so you are better than others. Sometimes you've got to be happy with which battle line you get. And we'll talk about that when we get to Space Marines, because my troop choice for my Primaris army is Intercessors. My fast attack choice is Inceptors. My heavy support is Hellblasters. I've literally got one choice for three of the battle line. What are they called? Jobs? Don't know.
Interceptors. Or Inceptors, sorry.
No. Do you know when they're like HQ, Troop, Elite? What are they called? Rolls. Battlefield roll. There we go, Mike. Thank you.
What?
All I got for winning a painting competition the other week was a certificate. Yeah, this is the problem. That's all we were allowed to do. Unless you went, bought stuff out of your own pocket and then gave them away, which happened from time to time. Ryan Benfield, my shop gave away some books and stuff and a Realm of Battle board for 8th edition release. That's interesting.
Nice.
Well,
they probably weren't meant to.
Yeah. Those books were probably ones that were supposed to be thrown in the bin. Derpimus Maximus, what a great name. Don't make posters in Word, use MS Paint like a pro. Surreal, one of my main big gripes with GW is no tournament support. That's only for now though, Surreal. Like, if we look at what they're doing, tournament support might not necessarily be giving stuff out for people to do tournaments, but it's tweaking their rules so that it is a better tournament game. And from this General's Handbook and the updates that they're doing on 8th edition, and they're going to continue to do, that is more support than we've had for a while. So I think it's only going in the right direction. Yeah, once your turn is big enough, GW will come and sell their product. Yes, they're a business, so I think they'll turn up when it's big enough. What else do we have? Courts of Delusion. Before you select a general's command trait, pick one of the following delusions for your army to have. The associated traits apply to all flesh-eater courts from your army for the duration of the battle, even if the general is slain. And you've got to select a new general during the battle.
This is good. This is like mutable tactics for Alpha Legion, so it means that you can actually choose these before each game. So if you see you've got someone who's bringing a lot of like beasties and stuff like that, you can choose the Royal Hunt. And otherwise you can tailor it. So I think that's quite a powerful ability.
This is very similar to like the relics and the stratagems that we've got from 40k. I think they're making them very similar but also different at the same time. What's that? Oh yeah, Surreal saying no, I mean GW doesn't provide prizes for tournaments. I don't know. I'm in two minds. I don't know I don't know if they have to. You know what I mean? People will be playing their game if they were giving out. It's going to cost them nothing, let's be honest. So, on two ways. It's going to cost them nothing, and it will make the tournaments more attractive to go to. So, on that side of things, it makes sense for them to just say, here's a bunch of prizes, give them out at your tournament. On the flip side, what negatives are there from that? Loads of tournaments will probably pop up, and they've got to then organise which ones can have models and which ones can't and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be more hassle doing that, but let's be honest, it's not going to cost them much. I think
they might go a different way with it. I think in the same way that now they do Golden Demons and Slayer Swords, if they started doing their own version of tournaments, there'd be no reason that they couldn't do something similar with that. It's not giving away products or anything like that, but at the same time, it's creating something unique you can only get from them, and hence would make attending their tournaments very desirable.
They do their own, though, don't they? The Throne of Schools was always good, and the doubles tournaments, I enjoyed playing those at Games Workshop. But like I was saying before, they might not give out prizes to every tournament under the sun, but they could even do it for their own. If they made their own Throne of Schools tournament, and rather than giving you a little certificate that says, well done, you turned up and paid 50 quid for a tournament, and now you've gone home with a piece of paper, rather than that, they could say, But then there's two sides to this. If you're going to a tournament to win a prize, which is what a lot of people will instinctively do, if you go to a Throne of Scores knowing that there's a prize for first, second, and third place for winning the tournament, you're automatically, whether you're a gamey person or not, you're going to make a list so that you can try and win that free product. And that's the thing.
But it depends how you do it, don't you? If you said something like it's going to be a mixture of both your victory points, but also something like the scores that your opponents give you, then you know if you bring a really gamey list, then your opponents are just going to say, look, I had no fun whatsoever. But then that system itself is very open to abuse by people who want to win, isn't it?
Well, that system's open to abuse with if you turn up with all your mates, they all vote for you. And it's also open to the abuse of if you're going to a tournament to be competitive and win based on the game and the nasty lists, then it should be based on that. It should be based on who's won, not who's been friendly while they've been playing the game. And that's the problem with tournaments. I think you either play something which is going to be filled with filth, or you go with something where there's going to be friendly lists and filth, and if you base it on who wins, then the filth is going to win every time, regardless of how nice somebody is on the other side of the table. And I think there's been so many different discussions about this back and forth on positives and negatives of that I think that's probably why they've avoided it. Maybe people need to think about more options for tournaments rather than always, because the go-to is we'll do a painting competition, we'll do who's been the friendliest, and we'll do games. Like, they're the three that every tournament seems to go to. I want to see some different options that they can do at tournaments that might make it a little bit fair, or do some sort of thing in the way that you win games. Comp was one way.
What would you think?
Comping lists.
By the way they win games.
Well, comping lists was one way that they did it, but that requires a lot of work and play testing. So if you take a filthy list, you'll be penalised. If you take a very weak list, you'll get benefits. It's like a handicap. So although you might have filth, you're going to be heavily penalised for taking filth, but it requires too much balance. Like, you have to take a lot of time to go in and do that. So that's another reason why I'd probably say that isn't done. I don't know.
I like what they did recently. So they saw at one of the very first 8th edition tournaments that what won was a Storm Raven and Flyer spam list. And so now what they did was, less than a month later, they've issued an FAQ saying that if you end up with all of your non-fly units killed at any point in the game, that is the game over and you have lost. So it immediately basically neutered that list and means that that's not a viable way of playing, because they basically said that's not how we want our games to go.
But that's two sides again. Somebody's gone out. If somebody's said, I want to win tournaments, I'm playing tournaments, I'm using their rules, and I'm going to go out and buy 5 Storm Ravens and play it this way, and then GW go, we're stopping that list straight after. How annoyed would you be? Not that I'm not going to go out and buy all that stuff to play it, but people out there do that as their hobby. That is their hobby, and GW's just said, sorry. Yeah. Although you've just spent that much money on those 5 Storm Ravens, we're now changing that. So maybe that should have been play tested before it got released and somebody wasted all that money on them.
I completely agree that it's a shame that it didn't get picked up earlier. But I think it's better that GW react to something like that and perhaps annoy the guy who bought 5 Storm Ravens. But then again, if you're the guy who went out and bought 5 Storm Ravens on the drop of a hat, just because 8th edition came out like this, I probably have limited sympathy for that person.
But rather than just wiping it all out, though, could they not just say that list can't be used at tournaments, rather than to wipe it out for anyone that does want to play that sort of game?
I think they do the same thing, Mike.
Yeah. Those tournament players play because of. They pay the most money at the end of the day, or a lot of the money. Those tournament players buy lists to play in a tournament because it's filthy. And you've instantly just gone, anybody who now wants to be a tournament player, we're gonna nerf the crap out of it every single time. So those tournament players now will just say, okay, I'm going to take grots every single time and make a list around that. Right, let's just quickly go through the chat before we carry on, because we've got more lots to get through. So much stuff to get through on a Friday. So Philippe Correa from Brazil, welcome Philippe. Surreal saying, I love the filth. That's good. Johnny Rockstar, if you get a fancy model for winning a tournament, 20 years later you can show off a hideously out-of-date model. If you get a trophy or frame certificate, it doesn't age so badly. This is true. There are benefits to certificates.
That silver lining.
Yeah, but not certificates made by GW managers that have no clue how to make graphics. Like, at least send out certificates and stuff that looks decent, rather than leaving people, like when I was working in a store, saying, just make your own certificates. All right, fine. Like, Jesus, a 5-year-old could have done it. It would have looked better than what I created. I bet Salty Sam's tournament list would be evil. My lists were evil in the past, but you know what? This morning, me and Mike were looking at Ultramarines, and I was just very quickly working out how many command points he can fit into a 1,000-point army.
Yeah, you were trying to make my list filthy.
Yeah, and I did it. It was a 1,000-point army with 11 command points. So he's got Gilliman, which gives you 3. Marnius Calgar, which gives you 2. What was it? A Librarian. So you've got 2 HQ and 1 Lord of War at the moment. Then you have 3 tactical squads at 5 mana squad with a special and a heavy weapon in each of them. So that's your 3 troops. And that gives you battalion. So as a force organisation chart. So you've got 3 more points there as well. And then there was a Rhino just to move around with. So that's all Battleforge. So it's another 3 command points. So he's got Gilliman and Calgar and a Librarian and a bunch of troops to run around capturing objectives, as well as having 11 command points. And because he's Ultramarines, the Warlord trait allows him to, every time he uses a command point, you roll a dice, and on a 5 or more, you get that command point back, which is just...
Sorry, Sam, just to check. You didn't give him 2 for Gilliman and... Sorry, 2 for Calgar and 3 for Gilliman, did you?
Yes.
Both of those only apply if they're the Warlord.
Oh, let me check. Because the Warlord trait was the other thing that was disgusting.
Oh, yeah, the Warlord trait. So whenever you spend it on a 5 or a 6, and Mike, you might be able to clarify this. Do you get the full amount back, or is it say you get a command point back?
I'm not 100% on it. Sam's going for it earlier.
Mike, he is right.
Okay, we can still get 9 and 1,000 points then.
Yeah, that's not the end of the world, is it?
Okay, so 9. That's still good, but then you don't need Calgar, so you can do what you were doing before, which is...
You always need... Oh, no, yeah, I was going to say, you always need Gilliman.
Gilliman, yeah, so Gilliman plus something else. That's 9. You could easily... I mean, with the Relic and the other... We'll look at the stratagems later as well, because there's some amazing stratagems for Space Marines.
Well, how many points was the Captain of Gravis armor? Roughly.
Hold on.
Same as a Rhino, or more or less?
Captain and Gravis armor is 137.
Okay, so it's a bit more expensive than the Rhino. Because the easy option would be is drop the Rhino, drop a weapon option, and it could probably fit in a Gravis dude then.
We'll have a look at it.
There's 2 HQs then.
Let's just finish this stuff. Let's go through the chat. We'll finish Death, and then we'll go on Space Marines, because there's loads of Space Marine stuff. Cyril, when I go out of state for a tourney, I'm not there to make friends. Elsa Nation, welcome. Just stopping in to say hello. Thank you, Elsa Nation. Cyril's there just to crush enemies. They need to award for the best conversion. That's something I'd love to see, because converting is one of my favourite things. Ryan Benfield stays away from tourneys. I don't like myself playing filthy just to win. Right, so everyone's talking about conversions and kitbash. Yeah, it's going to be one of the only things they'd consider entering. Anyone know if there has ever been one? So maybe that's something that's worth adding into tournaments, because already everyone's saying conversions. I think that would be a great
I think that's
thing.
a great one.
Even if it's not painted. You know, if you turn up to a tournament and... Because a lot of the time tournaments don't necessarily give you benefits for having a fully painted army, which I think some people's hobby is painting, some people's is playing games, others is both.
Mm-hmm.
So saying to somebody you can't get any points for being unpainted, or you're going to get penalised for being unpainted, is a bit harsh for those that don't play to be a painter. If you know what I mean, they just turn up to play games.
There's normally some sort of baseline that they have to follow for actual paint on a model. There isn't like 3 or 4.
It definitely looks better.
They need to have.
But in terms of a competitive tournament, you go in there to play the game. I think there should be a separate thing for best painted. There should be a separate thing for best converted. So you've got your game, which is played out with who has the best army and who plays the best, that sort of thing. Then you've got your separate categories for painting and conversions and things.
I think that's what a lot of tournaments do, to be fair.
I need to go to more of them then. Brain Spider, Sam, he has to fight me with that 11 CP army against all my tank and Firagard list, yes. Or 9 command points, because I didn't even read all the rules. Instead of Calgar, take a Predator, says Johnny. No harm in slopping on a layer, says Slippy Tiger. No, and I think that's a lot of the stuff that I try and do with my tutorials. They're very basic, a lot of them, because it's designed so that anybody can do it. You can spray a base coat on, put a few layers on, and then wash it, and your model is already better than being bare plastic. So following tutorials or the little guides that you can get in books and magazines, following that is going to make your army look better than not being painted at all. So it's a good thing. Okay, right, let's get on with the rest of these. So what rules do these have? Crusading Army, you can re-roll dice rolls of 1 when making a run or a charge for Flesh Eater units. It's okay. You can re-roll hit and win rolls of 1. I thought that was for everything. I was going to say that's miles better, but it's only when they target a monster. And then the other one is you can re-roll dice rolls of 1 when rolling to see if a friendly Flesh Eater Corpse unit becomes subject to a feeding frenzy. So there's going to be 3 more, I imagine. Yeah, there's D6. So there's 3 more to come, but nice extra rules. Cairn Wraiths and Tomb Banshees are the capable. Blah, blah, blah. Instead of setting up a Night Haunt unit on the battlefield, you can place it to one side and say it's in the underworld. If you do so, you can roll on the table below for the unit at the start of any of your movement phases, as long as there is at least one friendly Cairn Wraith or Tomb Banshee somewhere on the battlefield. So on a 1 to 2, the unit remains in the underworld. On a 3 to 6, you can set it up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches from any enemy units. This counts as the unit's move for this movement phase. So very similar to what we've got in 40k now.
Well, it's 7th edition reserves, isn't it?
Hmm. It's very. You have to have a Cairn Wraith or a Tomb Banshee on the battlefield, though. So if you're going to do that, you want to base your army around ethereal stuff so that you can guarantee. Because if you have like one Tomb Banshee up on the field and somebody just kills it,
and it gets sniped.
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, there goes the rest of my army that's in the underworld. They're going to stay in the underworld.
Well, I think that nicely fits into what a lot of people are hoping from this edition, is what we've seen in 8th for 40k. The idea that you can't target characters unless they're the closest unit. People have said that they'd quite like to see that come across into Age of Sigmar also, because everyone's sick of a very heavy shooting army just sniping their characters off left, right, and centre.
Artifacts, they've got the Slacking or Slaking Blade. Pick one melee weapon that this model can use, keep a tally of the number of wounds inflicted by the weapon, and as soon as it reaches 6 or more, this model heals D3 wounds, and you can add 1 to the damage characteristic of the chosen weapon for the rest of the battle. That's rather nice. So you could focus on killing infantry or horde units and stack that up pretty quickly. And then you've got the Sigil of the Sanguine Throne. Once per charge phase, you can re-roll a failed charge roll made for a friendly vampire unit within 12 inches of this model. That's really nice. That's really nice. Okay, so again, some good artifacts for them as well now. So that's all of that. Right, let's quickly go on Facebook. And then we'll talk about Space Marines, and then I'll do painting probably while we're doing Space Marines. We've got some more chat. The Gaffer 87, welcome. Sam and WGO team, when you're organising a 40k Kit Bash World Cup, you organise that and I'll join Premium. It depends if it's a tournament. Tournament's not as easy to plan out with everything that I've got to do right now, but we could potentially do. We said we were going to do another community event like we did for the Sigmar Showdown, which was the Age of Sigmar, convert any model and paint it up, come up with a backstory if you want, and enter that. So we said we would do that for 40k as well, and we will plan to do that soon, I will say. I think that'd be a great idea. I think it was August or September we planned it in as doing that event, and it'll be a whole month. So you'll have an entire month to build, convert, and paint one miniature for that event. Let's plan it in for September, because I've still got a lot of editing to do, a lot of armies to paint, and a lot of stuff in between. So September, I'm going to roughly say that's going to be the 40k conversion. What should we call it? Kit Bash World Cup. I think that's a good name for it.
The Conversion World Cup.
40k Kit Bash World Cup. But it's not just going to be kit bashing, it can be converting as well. Can be sculpting as well. I like the World Cup. I'm going to have to get a cup to send out to whoever wins as well, aren't I? Right.
Literally a mug.
Yeah, you can have my Game of Thrones mug. Oh, there was still some tea in that. Never mind.
I think we could get a WGO one knocked up. You could have the very first WGO mug.
Yes, you can buy those on the shop that we've got on the website. We need to buy some of them. Let's have a look then. So we'll just go through the Facebook group. We're not going to do this every week, but every now and again. So we've got Simon Minford working on his chaplain. Is that a chaplain model? Oh, it's like Legion of the Damned model. That's cool.
Nice.
Hey, Adrian, my airbrush arrived today, and this evening I base coated 5 tanks, including the camo scheme. That's awesome. Awesome progress. I plan to finish WGO Chronicles on Sunday. Would that be in time? Yes, James. We've extended it till the 20th of August. So anybody still doing WGO Chronicles, which is myself as well, and most other people, you've got till the 20th of August to finish it. I like how the only Alliance-specific book I have is also free on the internet. It means I can get friends to play, pick an army without paying for the army books themselves. That's cool. Chaplain Xavier. That's his name, says Simony. Sam, get a...
Oh, is that the Salamanders one?
This chaplain thing. I thought it was Legion of the Damned, but it could be made out of...
Xavier.
I don't know.
Turn off the chat because it was taking too much out of my internet. So.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll let you know if it is the Salamanders one. Brain Spider's saying, get a WGO winner mug made and sent it to the winner. We could definitely look at that.
A certificate, how about that?
Yeah, I'll make one of my paint certificates and send that out. James Jones is aiming for 100 PowerPoints then. That's good on you. Yeah, mine's 100 roughly. It's 2,000 points that I'm trying to get done by the 20th of August. And I think Ulster Nation's doing about 5,000 points. So you can do as much as you want. Simon, he says he's a salamander, so yeah, you are right.
Nailed it.
Big Rich has just posted some pictures as well. Right, let's see if I can start from the beginning. I'm not going back up again though. This is it, Big Rich. So what is this? 10 boxes. 10 boxes to make. Land Cruisers and 9 bikes later. Dark Imperium stuff. Dark Imperium was always a good set. It's a shame they didn't release the Chosen models as a separate box.
What's that from the Dark Vengeance kit, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm amazed at that.
Loads of pictures there.
We don't have a multi-part plastic Chaos Cult kit, do we?
No. The easy one for them to make money on, let's be honest.
You think so, wouldn't you? Especially how good Cultists were last edition.
Yeah. Here's Elston's working on his... I mean, he does a good job as well. He's got a whole army painted up and it's a nicely painted job. Cool bases.
Sickening, isn't it?
Yeah. James, or you could give away one of those snazzy t-shirts. Yeah, the t-shirts, anybody can buy the t-shirts. We make, I think, £1 or £2 maximum for every t-shirt that we sell. But if you like, the logo is nice. The Wargame Online logo is good. So if you want one of those, then feel free to buy one and we might look at getting one to give away.
Yeah, I think it's nice to do a little bit of WGO merch, get it out there.
Battle of the Bulge. Don't want to look at more Warlord bolt action stuff. It set me off again. Got Brain Spider with his Gilded Lion break, so he's doing Nurgle now. September then for a 40k. Insert description here, World Cup. Yeah, let's go for September. Red Cuffs. We'll start at the beginning of September and we'll end it at the end. James cracking on with his awesome army. That Librarian model is brilliant. I'm so in love with it. And I love my... I don't normally love my models, but I love my Librarian that I've done just by switching the head and giving him a blade and different arms. I'm in love with that. Blam's cracking on with his Chronicles as well. Got so many of them to do. So many magnetised bits. Johnny Rockstar. I love this colour scheme as well. It's almost like an Incubi Darkness. And you know how much I love that colour, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
You do love your Incubi.
Yeah. Don't talk about plastic without bringing up Sisters of Battle. Sorry. Brain Spider, as a Facebook mod, I should really get a t-shirt for myself. Yes, you should. Everybody should get t-shirts and turn up at Warhammer World. Sean cracking on with more Raven Guard. I think there are Raptors there as well. There's just so much. Again, if you're not on this Facebook group, just go on to Facebook, type that in, Wargamer Online Space Community, and it will bring up the group and you can go on there. Benjamin Moore. I did post something myself earlier. Some more from James. I said I would show one person stuff. So what did I post? How do I use Facebook? I'm going to scroll down. So if I miss anybody's, I apologise. Here we go. This is Richard Moshers Gilliman. And this is the guy who paints in the back of his truck. So limited space and still awesome results. And brilliant bases as well. I love the lava bases. I was almost tempted to do those for my what are they called? Black Dragons.
Black Dragons.
Yeah. So time to wind up Mike about bolt action. Has Sam started buying Americans yet?
No, he hasn't.
Mike's a horrible person.
What was wrong with it? What has happened here due to additive?
No, there's nothing to argue about.
When we were looking at conflict, I said I wanted to do the Germans out of all of the kits because as a standalone conflict box, that looked the best for me.
Sam did his normal thing of changing his mind.
However,
pink, and that's what happened.
However,
Okay.
when it came to bolt action, I decided that I maybe wanted to do Americans rather than Germans. So I was thinking about it, and by the time I thought, yeah, I'm going to do Americans because the Shermans are really awesome tanks, and I can base it on Band of Brothers and all the other Saving Private Ryan and Fury and all those different TV shows and films. Mike says, you're not doing them, I'm doing Americans. You've got to stick with the Germans. So I didn't even change my mind for bolt action at all. And it was already sold. I can't do it. James Jones, where can I buy t-shirts? Yeah, if you go on the website, wargameonline.com, and then I think there's on the links page, there's a link that says shop, and that sends you through to spreadshirt.com or .co.uk. Our shop on there. So they organise everything, which is why we don't make hardly any money, if anything, from them. So you literally just pick what t-shirt you want, you pick what colour you want the logo to be, and you pay for it, and they send it out to you, and they deal with everything. So if you want any merchandise,
Then you
mugs,
get to live the brand.
Mugs, t-shirts, and hoodies. There's a really nice hoodie which I need to get because, and we paid exactly the same price as everybody else as well. So we just buy them whenever we want a t-shirt. But there's one hoodie which has got a red inside and then a black outside with the logo on it. So that's the one that I want.
Sounds pretty sweet.
It's nice. It's still expensive though. You're paying like £30 or £35. So they're not cheap, but they're made out. They're quality t-shirts. It's not like it's made out of flimsy stuff. But
That's all right for a quality hoodie.
It's the same stuff. Games Workshop, they get their t-shirts made by another company. Games Workshop have got their own merchandise shop on Spreadshirt, which is why we said we'll go with that. They're probably going to make a bigger cut on the stuff that they sell, but at least the quality is the same and it's good. Right, let's talk about, because we're an hour in almost, and I've not even started painting yet, so I've not done any hobby. I know you can see Pink hobbying away there.
I realised I've painted 9 Death Company. I always do this. I paint up a whole unit and then I count them at the end, and I'm like, I've not done enough. So before a battle tomorrow, I'm knocking up the very last one.
You're lagging again. Right, it's the internet. You're doing more than me though, so I'm going to crack on with it. Right, Brain Spider, I have worked out why Mike is off camera tonight. He's been too lazy to hide the dead hookers and strippers. Right, let's talk about Space Marines, shall we? So the codex is being released tomorrow. There is some amazing stuff in this book, and I've been looking into as much as I can. We haven't mentioned the most important thing yet, says Derpimus Maximus. Please let us know what this is. Now, some of the combinations you can do. I'm drinking Inns and Gun tonight. How about you lot? I just drink tea. I've not been drinking any alcohol for a while. Mike, what are you drinking?
Tea, of course.
Pink. Don't say paint.
I'm mostly drinking paint.
Yeah, thought so. Hobby fuel, as you call it.
Poison.
Poison, as others call it. Okay. Right. This book, this codex, is full. I did an unboxing the other day on the channel, so that's gone through almost page by page, not showing you too much, but generally what's included in the book. So I'm not going to say what everything is in here. There's a lot of background stuff. There's a lot of pictures, which I love. I love to look through the artwork and the painted examples of things. But there's a ton of stats in here for everything that's available for Space Marines. The only thing that I haven't found is the tank, the Land Raider command tank from Warhammer World that you can buy, the exclusive thing. That's not in here.
The Primaris Land Raider or something it's called, isn't it?
There's a couple of things missing. There's the Imperial Space Marine. There's the Land Raider Excelsior. The Rhino Primaris, I think it's called, which is the counterpart for that. And all things have been taken out now. More librarian on bike, I understand, and I think there's a couple of other little examples like that.
So things like that aren't in this book, do you still get to use them because they were in the index?
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing was the Terminus Ultra, which is your Lord of War tank with like a bajillion las cannons.
Yeah. That's the one I was talking about, because that's classed as a character, isn't it, in the index?
No, not the Ultra. The Excelsior is.
Oh, okay. Either way, there's a Land Raider that can be a character. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a character. It's a HQ. It's a good number of points, but it does make you realise that you could have a battle-forged all Land Raider army. So watch the tournament scene near you. Maybe that's the next thing that's coming around.
But the only thing with that is, does that have, because it's not in this codex and it's in the index, does it have access to the Warlord trait that's in here?
I don't know, in all honesty, but it does reference, because the community site, they were saying, I think recognising some people might be a little bit annoyed that they just bought the index and now they're buying the codex. But it says that you'll only be able to access those war scrolls by using the index.
Yeah.
So I guess tournaments are going to just have to make a call on whether or not they're allowing index units.
Okay, well, if it allows you to use the Warlord traits in here, there's some pretty good options. One that I thought would be pretty decent straight away is Iron Resolve. So that adds 1 to the wound characteristic of the Warlord. So that Land Raider would be the Warlord. And in addition, every time you lose a wound, you roll a dice, and on a 6, you ignore it. So that's same as the Tenacious Defender, I think it does, or Survivor that's in the generic rules. But it gives you 1 extra wound. There's other Warlord traits here which are pretty good. So the Angel of Death, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of enemy units that are within 6 inches of your Warlord, which is pretty good. So you just drive it into the enemy and watch them all crumble if you start casting any sort of spells that stop that. I
just love the idea of this Land Raider being your Warlord.
It's amazing. Well, this one was my favourite one, actually. The Raven Guard. So the Raven Guard Warlord's trait is enemy units cannot fire Overwatch at your Warlord. So you drive your Land Raider into as many units as you can. None of them can Overwatch, and then the rest of your units can all just pile in without even worrying about taking shots. Just imagine that on a Tau army.
I want to get the one where if you charge, you get +1 attack. So you just
your
charging this Land Raider.
That's the Imperium Sword. You get to re-roll failed charge rolls for your Warlord, as well as getting an extra attack if you charge. The other ones, there's loads. Okay, let me just check the chat as well, because it's going. I don't want to have to do a quick fire stage. Are the teas Fruits of the Loom or Gildan? They're not Fruits of the Loom, I don't think. I'll find out for you, but I thought Fruits of the Loom and Gildan were both quite cheap quality ones. So I'm sure they were better than that. Let me check. 1 sec.
I can't see Mike. Has he just walked away?
I can't see. I can't see him neither, so I don't know. It sounded like he'd got up and walked away.
I think that's it. I think he's just left you and me to sort on this, and we can't see chat at all. So everyone's probably They've just left. That's it.
I think he's still in the same room though.
I
can
think
hear movement.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear the chair.
It literally says Spreadshirt on the label, so it's not a Fruits of the Loom or Gildan. They have their own t-shirt. That's that question answered. That's dedication. Ran downstairs and everything. Brain Spider, Dead Hookers, best comment of the chat so far. Brain Spider, I'm having ales tomorrow to help commiserate getting another year older. Congratulations, Brain Spider. Red Cuffs drinking Stella. Simony, Italian Red. Rachel would be proud. She's downstairs drinking red at the moment. Slippy Tiger drinking Hobgoblin because I'm a stereotype. Did I miss the AOS talks as iCast? You did. Sorry. There might be more later, to be fair. Khan on the bike is missing for the Codex too. It's a shame. Pink needs to get a better potato than the one he's recording with.
That's amazing. I love that.
Show us Rachel's new model. Oh, give me a minute. I'll have a look in a minute. When I've got through the chat and these two are talking, we'll go and get the model out of the wardrobe. Oh, God. That sounds like a bomber flying overhead. That's not a plane. I used to like the Gate of Infinity on my Land Raider. Okay. When I finish this beer, next time I'm having one of the beers we made with my dad at this craft brewing kitchen thing. That's probably extremely strong. Now, what was some of the stuff that we saw in here? Because we talked about all this off camera earlier on, and me and Mike were both like, we're going to talk about this later on, and we've gone through like tons of like stats and tactics and strategies and all this sort of stuff.
It was like must have been almost like an hour's worth of chat between me and you and Leah.
Yeah, and we missed it.
So what did you guys think of the Stern Guard stratagem? I guess is one that sort of stuck out for me, really.
What? Oh, let me have a look. I didn't even look at that. My biggest issue, we'll talk about that in a minute, actually. Remind me to talk about sticking to Primaris only and how much of a bane that is.
Yeah. I want to just start with that so you don't forget it.
Because I'm on Stern Guard now. So this is, use this stratagem when a Stern Guard veteran squad is selected to attack in the shooting phase. You can add 1 to all wound rolls made for the unit's special issue bolt gun attacks in that phase. Is that the one you're on about?
Yeah.
It's nice, but I'm sure there's other stuff that does that you don't have to spend command points on.
No, but it does make them rather a nasty sort of unit if you want to make a gun line. I'm just looking up the sort of stats for them now, but I think in terms of them off pop, that it actually makes a rather sort of devastating fire base. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so if you use the special issue bolt gun, the sort of weakness of it is it's only strength 4, but it's a -2 rend, which is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
So doing that, but you're also, what was it, Sam, adding 1 to wound on those as well?
You could combine it with certain traits. Because you've got the Storm of Fire. One thing I was looking at doing, actually, was because your Warlord can be anything with the character keyword. It doesn't have to be a HQ or anything. So you can have an Ancient, a Primaris Ancient or a normal Ancient with the banner, and that can be your Warlord.
Wasn't it for your Warlord? It could be anything, but if you wanted the Warlord trait, it has to have character in the keyword.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you're not going to... You want
Battle Force, you need to bring a HQ model, don't you?
Yeah, well, you need to pick one of the things. So, yeah, you need a HQ. But all I'm saying is, I forgot what I'm saying now. The Warlord trait. That was it, right. You give your Warlord trait to the banner, the Ancient dude. Give him the Warlord trait Storm of Fire. So each time you roll a wound roll of 6 or more for a friendly chapter unit within 6 inches of the Warlord, you basically... The characteristic of the attack is increased by 1, the AP. So if you're AP 2 with a Stalker Bolt Gun, you now AP -3. Just for any 6s that you roll to wound by being within 6 inches of that banner guy. You can also give the banner dude a relic, which increases the... if anything dies within a certain range of the banner, within 6 inches of the banner, you roll a dice, and on a 4 or more, you get to shoot again before you die. This relic lets you do it on a 3 or more. It also makes you immune to morale, and anybody within 6 inches of the banner, enemy-wise, they are at -1 to their leadership. So having your warlord as a little dude behind a bunch of gunline units that is now giving them tons of buffs is well worth having. And your other option is obviously the reroll to hit or wound of a 1. If you put the captain in Gravis armor or the lieutenant or lieutenant next to the unit, that does buffs as well. But you kind of don't want to stick your whole army on one side of the field just buffing each other because you've got nobody doing anything else. One of the other chapter relics which stood out for me was the Burning Blade, because obviously you don't pay points for these relics, you pay the cost of whatever it's replacing. So the Burning Blade replaces either a power sword or a mastercrafted power sword. So you wouldn't really use this on the mastercrafted, but if you've got a lieutenant or a lieutenant with a power sword, you replace it with the Burning Blade instead. So you suddenly become +2 strength with a -5 AP and 1 damage. Which again is awesome. For no extra point cost. You pay, if you've got nothing else to use relics on, you just chuck that on one of you guys with a power sword. Well, character with a power sword. The armor Indomitus is nice. So your save characteristic goes to a 2-up. And anytime you take a save, you can choose to turn on the power field or whatever it is, and you get a 3-up invulnerable save for that turn, till the end of that turn. But you've still got the 2-up armor save. And again, you're not paying points for this. So if you've got relics, you use them.
That was the thing I was looking at putting on the librarian, wasn't it, in my list?
Yes. You have the Tome of Malkador as well, though, for Psykers. So you can put that on them. It gives your Psyker another psychic power from the Librarius discipline. The other thing... What was the other thing you were talking about?
Wasn't it with the relics and stuff that you could use command points to take more than one?
That was it.
Yeah.
So the stratagem, there's one called Relics of the Chapter. So for 1 command point, you can, before the battle starts, you can choose to take an additional relic. So you've got 2 relics then to split around your characters. If you spend,
which was something that became good for me.
What were you saying, Pink?
Yeah. Well, like Ultra means you're saying how many command points they've got.
Yes. Yeah, for Mike's 9 command point army, he's already... The other thing is if you spend 3 command points, you can take 2 additional relics. So for 3 command points, you now have 3 relics. So you can chuck in the Tome, you can put in the Burning Blade, and the Armour of Indomitus before you've even started.
Does it say each one can only be taken once?
I think you can only take it once, and they have to be on different... All of the chapter relics that you include must be different and be given to different characters. So yes. There's also, for 3 command points, there's a stratagem called Chapter Master. You upgrade an Adeptus Astartes captain up to a Chapter Master. Now, I don't understand exactly how this works, whether it says Adeptus Astartes captain. We didn't know whether that was just the captain, because there is one that's just called captain, or whether it could be the Gravis captain or a captain in Terminator armor or whatever. It doesn't clarify.
No, I think you can. The Adeptus Astartes is just the keyword that they have to have.
There was something that made me think otherwise. Okay, so it has to be Adeptus Astartes captain. Then it says, replace this model's captain keyword with Chapter Master instead, and replace the Rites of Battle ability with the Chapter Master can reroll all failed hit rolls. It doesn't... By the look of this, it doesn't get everything that a Chapter Master has. It doesn't just go up to a Chapter Master in stats and everything else that gets. You literally replace an ability. So you're paying 3 command points to, instead of having the Rites of Battle ability, you're just having the reroll all hits.
I don't think it's worth it personally. I think it's more of a, if you want to be sort of forging the narrative as such, and you've got your custom-built Chapter Master you wanted to bring, then you can do that thematically and still say he's a Chapter Master, whereas otherwise you can't.
I just think 3 points is far too expensive for that. 2 at a push, even 1, I would say. If it's just the ability, it's not worth it otherwise.
It doesn't give you... Are you sure it doesn't give you anything else at all?
It literally says, replace this model's keyword with the Chapter Master and replace his Rites of Battle ability with the following ability. It doesn't say replace his stats.
Wounds or something like that.
No. rubbish. Anyway, there's a bunch of other stuff in here as well. Orbital bombardment for 3 command points. That's quite nice. You've got chapter specific ones. So for the Raven Guard, this is the one. I think I'm doing Raven Guard for my Black Dragons, but their stratagem is for 1 command point. You can do this as many times as you've got command points. You can put 1 Raven Guard infantry unit during deployment off the battlefield, and then once you've figured out who's going first, before the first turn actually starts, you can then place it anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from the enemy. So for 1 command point per unit, you can put some pretty devastating stuff right in front of the enemy.
Sorry, did you say it has to be infantry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who says that?
But that's, in my example, my Primaris, that's everything apart from the Dreadnought and the repulsor tank.
Yeah.
Which is fine. What have we got in the chat? Derpimus Maximus. Sticking to Primaris is really a new stuff problem. When I started collecting my guard, each regiment only had like 1 heavy weapon. Yeah, it's definitely limited. This was one of the things I was saying to Mike. When I'm looking at the generic Space Marines, so if you look at the Lieutenant, for the Space Marines, not Primaris, you have more options. So the only difference between a Primaris and a normal Lieutenant is the normal one has 1 less wound and 1 less attack. That's it. It also costs 1 less power. So that's it on stats wise. Everything else is the same. Ability wise, they have the same. The Lieutenant for a normal Space Marine army gets to choose from a range of different weapons. So it has a Mastercrafted bolt gun. You can replace that with any items from pistols, combi weapons, or melee weapon lists. So that's a huge chunk anyway. You can replace its chainsword with any item from the melee weapon list as well. So that's another chunk of stuff. You can also take a jump pack. And if you have that, you get obviously the 12-inch movement, you get the jump pack keyword and the fly keyword, which allows you to then set up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away after deployment. So any of your movement phases. That's the normal Space Marine. The Primaris Lieutenant one gets a choice of a Mastercrafted auto bolt rifle, or a power sword, or a Mastercrafted stalker bolter. Like, the difference is insane. And you're paying 1 extra power for that, for the ability to take 3 choices. So I'm thinking, why am I even bothering with a Primaris Lieutenant? I'm thinking maybe I'll just build a model with a jump pack, use it as a generic Space Marine Lieutenant, and then I get more options. I can have a Primaris looking dude jumping around the battlefield killing stuff. I just think it's a bit of an oversight that they've released this Primaris Lieutenant with minimal options when the basic Marines have got so much more.
Well, I heard something I thought was quite interesting on like and again it might just be theory or hearsay, but originally when the Primaris were being proposed, they were saying, well, actually, yeah, this will be the new true scale Space Marine. This is our new plan for Space Marines. And basically the guys at GW sort of strategy wise said, are you crazy? Do you know how many Space Marine molds we've got and how expensive these things are? We're not stopping making them. So it really is designed to be an addition to the Space Marine army and not a replacement.
I understand that side of things. I just think
you're sort of putting that restriction on yourself, and GW would say just don't do that.
I'm looking at this thinking I'd be better playing a generic Space Marine army using the Primaris models. So doing a true scale army effectively.
Yeah.
Because of the range of options that are available to you. Otherwise, you're limited to 1 thing per battlefield role. Same as Tech Marines. I was looking, thinking, I can have a Tech Marine running behind a Dreadnought. There is no Primaris Tech Marine. So do I just get the normal Tech Marine and then convert it to look like a Primaris one and do it that way? I mean, to me, I don't care. I'll use it as a normal one. But I just think it's a bit of an oversight. When every Marine can be upgraded in the fluff up to a Primaris, why can't you have a Primaris Tech Marine? Why can't you have a Lieutenant with the same options?
That was the other thing. Apparently, that sort of got said out as like a comment by someone in the design team, but you've never seen it anywhere in the fluff or anywhere like that. We've been told this Space Marines can be upgraded, but we've not, for example, in the Dark Imperium book, there's no examples of that. So I don't know if that's really confirmed.
Well, that's now in my head.
Or perhaps it's saying the saving for later.
I've now got in my head that you can walk into a factory as a Space Marine, sit in a booth, 10 minutes later, you become a Primaris. Yeah. Like, it's like iPhones. Every year you get an upgrade. Every year you're going to get a new suit of armour and, you know, some indoctrination in your head sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think I am going to look through this list. I'm going to have to expand my spreadsheet so that I can have the generic Space Marines now, and I can do some really cool conversions, because I'm thinking a lieutenant with a jump pack converted from one of the Inceptors. So one of those big oversized jump packs with like double blade, cool. You know, with the Black Dragon's forearm blades that are coming off their arms and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll do that. And I wanted to do that from the beginning, but everyone has to run around on foot because they don't get the option unless you're running around with oversized assault bolters in your hands.
Yep.
What's going off in the chat? Did Khaleesi eat the rabbit? Haven't heard him stirring up trouble lately. No, he's still alive. Sam sacrificed the rabbit to the paint gods. No, I didn't. I should try painting like Pink. It looks really comfortable. Is it comfortable? Is it comfortable, Pink?
Yeah, I'm sat here cross-legged in front of my computer, just licking the paintbrush every 5 seconds.
Slippy Tiger says, paint is a wonderful drug. I just saw a trailer for Chaos Warriors for Total War Warhammer. Wow, that's cool. I miss Warhammer Fantasy. AOS is cool and all, but the old world was the best. To quote the Fresh Sorcerer, AOS is kind of schizophrenic. I do prefer... I like the background in the old world, but only because I knew it and I liked it at that point. I think the new AOS background is open to a lot more. I think there's a lot more scope with the new AOS. It's not limited to one planet. You've got all the different realms. You can create any sort of background that you want. Whereas in the old world, if you did anything out of the ordinary, you knew about it. And somebody on the internet would tell you about it as well, because it was so set in its way. Pink, we've just got a shot of your backside.
I'm just picking out some bits.
Beautiful. This is what you get on this channel.
Beautiful. For free.
Yeah, that's normally premium. Derpimus Maximus. I got a kidney transplant and I suddenly had the energy to get back into stuff. Oh, that's getting back into the hobby. Slippy Tiger saying Total Warhammer got me into the hobby. Yeah, that's good. Congratulations. Adrian Trevor, still playing Warhammer more than AOS, and when I play AOS, it's with the Daughters of Cain army. The Dark Elves, that's all I had in 8th edition Fantasy. It was a giant army of Dark Elves using these, what are they called? Witch Elves, and the Throne. I think it's called a Throne.
Was it the Throne or was it the Cauldron of Blood?
Cauldron of Blood, that was it. The Cauldron of Blood with the hag on the back of it, a big block of Witch Elves, and it just mowed in every single unit it came into contact with, it just deleted because of all the rerolls that you got. It was amazing to play. Mike just loved, like, Get Destroyed, didn't you, Mike?
Yeah, I'd get destroyed. Well, I was quite new to 8th, wasn't I? And it wasn't a great one. But the worst one was Dave's list, wasn't he? That Luke gave it. Nothing was beating it.
Yeah, so Luke gave Dave a list to play. And Dave didn't even look at the list. He just said, I want to buy everything on it. So he bought everything on the list. He built it. He played his first game without even knowing what how to play the game. And basically trashed every single person. It was disgusting. It was a Nurgle army with a bunch of beasts of Nurgle and stuff in it.
Epidemus was on there. Epidemius, whatever his name is, was on there as well.
Epidemius.
Well, was it against you that where his unit was pretty much all gone and then they all came back?
Yeah, so my Witch Elves unit with the... What was it called?
Cauldron of Blood.
Cauldron of Blood. So I charged into his big block of Plague Bearers and Epidemius, and I trashed him down to one model in one turn because of all the rerolls. And I was like, that's fine, you're dead. He rolled whatever it is that lets you regenerate the entire unit back up. So I almost flipped the table. I'd have enough of him.
Yeah.
Dave had already been winding everybody up because his army was so good. So I was set to trash him, and I did it. And then he rolled that at that time, and I had enough. And I gave up the game. Even though he didn't kill a single witch elf, I just gave up. I says, that's it, you won. I can't be bothered to roll all of those dice again, because it was a big block of witch elves. And once you've rolled them, done the rerolls, done the wounds, done the rerolls, and then he's done all the saves, it's like, that's a waste of time. I've obviously won. And Dave was like, do it all again. I was like, no. He's like, I'm not letting you win if you don't do it all again. I was like, fine, you win the game. Just walked away. I just couldn't be bothered. So, Grumbleback, are General's Handbook 2 and General's Handbook 2017 the same thing? Yes, they are. I should have called it 2017. I'll change the title afterwards. No, I won't. Given the Primaris Apothecary and the Chaplain, I think we will see a full Primaris Tech Marine Mini eventually. Maybe it's just taken a little bit longer for them to complete their apprenticeship on Mars. That's a good background. I think the only problem I see with this is, if there's more Primaris to come out, does that mean I'm going to have to buy another Primaris book in the future, like by the end of this year? Because if that's the case, I'll have bought the index.
Unless they just did the points in the box.
Yeah, which is what they're doing now.
I want to buy a book. They've drilled it into me all these years that I need to buy a codex for my army. I'm quite happy to buy a codex for my army. What I'm not happy with is buying an index on one part of the year, buying a codex the month after, and buying another Primaris codex by the end of the year. You know what I mean?
Would you prefer to wait and have none of these rules?
I would prefer to wait. I'd prefer to be using the index right now until they release a Primaris book with all of the units that are going to be available. And maybe in a year or 2 years, they release more Primaris stuff. What I don't like is the fact that me and so many other people are chucking money at Games Workshop to have the most updated rules so that we can play stuff. And then, you know, a bit down the line, then releasing another one. It's not even like it's been a year.
You don't know that's going to happen yet. We're just speculating you're going to get future stuff. This might be it.
If it is, then that's the other problem. If it isn't, if there is more to come out, this is the double-edged sword, right? If there's more to come out, if there's more to come out, how soon is it going to be before I have to buy another book? If there isn't anything else to come out, I'm going to have to start playing Space Marines as well as Primaris, or at least on paper play the Space Marines and then convert them, which I'm fine to do. But again, I'll be annoyed if I go to the trouble of working out all of the normal Space Marine units, converting them, getting into the play style of how it works, and then in 6 months' time they say, here's a load of Primaris stuff with a new book. It's just there's no planning in future. Even if they said in 6 months' time there's going to be a Primaris book, I'd be like, okay, cool. Thanks for the heads up. I won't waste my time. I'll play with what I've got.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating. And I know it's third world problems and everything. First world problems, third world. Over in my house, it's third world problems. Little Sam has to wait 6 months for his Primaris book. Did I miss any discussion on aggressors versus centurions, trying to work out the differences and which I should take? Okay, let's have a look at that before we go on to any more. I was saying this earlier to Mike, that I think the aggressors have got the upper hand on offensive capability, but the centurions are there for defensive stuff.
I thought it was Terminators we were talking about earlier. It was Terminators.
Oh, I'm thinking Cataphracti. Centurion Assault Squads, they're called now, I think. Yeah, Centurions are the 3-man squad. I was looking at Terminators, 2 aggressors. And between the 2 of those, what was it? So the aggressors.
I think it was a case of Terminators they had the better save and they had an invuln. However, you could do more damage with the aggressors. A lot more damage with the aggressors. Yeah. And the aggressors are 6 power, whereas the Terminators are generally 7. So it's 6 power for 3 aggressors. Hold on, no, I'm talking rubbish. 6 power for 3 aggressors. Can't even speak. And it's 12 or 13 power for 5 Cataphracti or Tartarus Terminators. So if you look at it that way, if you pay 12 power for 6 aggressors, you could have 5 Cataphracti. And the difference between the 2, I'd go aggressors every time, unless you wanted a unit that's going to protect something, you know, have a character behind the Cataphracti or something. But let's have a look actually between Centurions. So again,
I think you want to go Centurions, but I think your Centurions now want to go with las cannons because grav cannons got hit hard this edition. Probably just because how good they were in last.
Well, there's two types of centurions, aren't there? There's the assault squad and there's the other one.
You'll be talking Devastator if you're comparing to Aggressors.
Well, the Devastator, this is the difference, okay? Just in power, I'm not even going to look at points. Devastator, for a squad of them, it's 19 power. For the assault ones, it's 12. That's a huge difference between the two. So if you're looking at that, cost basis, for 3 Centurion Devastators, what can you get? You can get 9 Aggressors. And the difference stats-wise, the Aggressors have got a 1 inch extra movement. They've got 1 less strength, 1 less wound, and 1 less armor save. So, in terms of stats, there's not a huge amount for me to go for the Centurions at the moment. In terms of weaponry, what have you got? Each model is equipped with 2 heavy bolters and a hurricane bolter. So 2 heavy bolters, that's 6 shots per guy. Strength 5, -1 AP with 1 damage and 36-inch range. The Aggressors, let's just go with their Bolt Storm gauntlets. They're 6 shots again per guy, but only strength 4 with no AP and 1 damage. So you lose, and they're only 18-inch range. So you're losing, you've only got half the range.
You don't bring Centurions for heavy bolters. You bring Centurions to put missile launchers and las cannons on them.
How many points extra is that, though? If you were doing points, it's probably expensive.
Las cannon, I think, is 25, so it'd be 50 points. For the las cannons.
So you can replace 2 las cannons. 2 shots, strength 9, -3 AP, and D6 damage. At this rate, I'd rather have a repulsor. To be honest. Between a Centurion and... I think it's going to be between the Centurion unit and the repulsor for me. The repulsor's got 16, that's 16 power. It's got 16 wounds. The Devastator unit's on 9 wounds in total.
Yeah.
The repulsor can have up to 2. Well, you've got a twin las cannon and a las talon, but then you can have up to 5 frag storm grenade launchers on the repulsor as well. And you can also have the heavy onslaught cannon as well. There's a lot more options on the repulsor. And then on top of that, you've got all the special rules for it. If you charge the repulsor, you subtract 2 from the charge distance. The repulsor's a flyer as well as being the power of the machine spirit. So you ignore the moving penalty.
Well, no, I was going to say the main thing for that as well is like being a vehicle is absolutely huge in this edition. Being a flyer in a vehicle, just for the fact that if you get charged, you don't have to use your 300-point tank reversing off and not getting to shoot this turn. You just back up and then shoot them in the face.
That's because it's a fly or because it's a vehicle?
Yeah, because it's a flyer.
Yeah. That's the thing that wins it for me. On top of the fact that it's obviously toughness 8, so the Centurions are toughness 5.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't his question. His question was Aggressors versus
Centurions. Yeah. Okay, so Aggressors versus Centurions, I think it's close because you get 9 Aggressors or you get a unit of 3 Centurions. I think I'd still go for the Aggressors over the Centurions, and I would go for the Aggressors and a Repulsor. I wouldn't do Aggressors and Centurion, is what I'm thinking. I think you've got more flexibility there. Your range is limited on the Aggressor unit. You've definitely got longer range on the Centurion Devastators, so that's their benefit. And obviously, if you want some longer ranged, high strength attacks, you go for the Hellblaster squad because they've got access to the heavy plasma incinerator. That's a 36-inch range, heavy 1 plasma shot with a strength 8 standard shot, -4 AP and only 1 damage. But then you can supercharge that and get 2 damage and 9 strength.
What are the Hellblasters like compared to like a Devastator squad?
So how does it compare to a plasma cannon, you mean?
Well, yeah, because in the Devastator squad, you've got multiple special weapons they can have as well, can't you, at long range?
You've got more variety in the Devastator squad, and because they can all shoot at different things, the Devastator squad is good for that.
Well, my question was do you think the Devastator squad would be better over a Hellblaster squad?
I think they're very close again, and I think having the variety in weapons in the Devastator squad is a huge benefit. Because now you can shoot them all at different things.
Yeah.
In the past, it would have been probably the Hellblasters, because you'd otherwise have to kit your Devastator squad out the same, they'd be expensive. You know, if you put a full squad of Devastators with las cannons, it isn't a cheap unit. But because they all had to shoot the same unit, they ended up doing a unit of las cannons or a unit of heavy bolters or whatever. Just so that you weren't wasting shots on less. You know, you're not shooting at the optimal stuff. So yeah, let's have a look at this chat. There's still loads. Steel Legion. Oh, talking about. Oh, what's going on here? Oh god, I've missed so much.
Oh no.
Oh no, oh no. Pink knows how to get those views. That's from Pink bending over. If you've just tuned in now, go back earlier on to see Pink bending over. Normally premium content, but today it's for YouTube only.
My money maker.
Money maker. Money, money, money.
Money!
That's deafened everybody now. Centurions are better equipped to take on vehicles and monstrous creatures, while aggressors are strictly anti-infantry. Yeah, most definitely. I think that's the one thing I found from the limited Primaris units is unless you're taking Hellblasters,
you don't have a lot for tanks, do you?
You've got the Repulsor and the Dreadnought, other than getting into combat. Everything else is anti-infantry, and I wasn't looking at putting any Hellblaster stuff in my army. No plasma if I could help it.
You don't like them, do you?
Now I've got to either put normal Space Marine units in there to give me that bonus, or I've got to put some plasma. You know how many ones I roll. That's why I don't want plasma.
You don't have to overcharge them.
Yeah, but I do. You know, like if somebody says, "Do you want to supercharge your unit?" Yes, I do. Supercharge 5 ones. Take your unit off. Yay. Cauldron of Blood still helps destroy stuff in AOS, and you can make a pure filth list with multiple Blood Rack, Medusae, and Mortal Wound on a 5-up to every model in the target unit. That's disgusting. See, when they didn't release the Dark Elf update, I didn't even look at them because there was so many other things coming out. So this is why I've been waiting for some new stuff. And I think it is between Dark Elves and Wood Elves. But I'm thinking it's going to be Wood Elves for my next army because I've got Iron Jaws for pure combat. And I want something different. So Wood Elves will give me that shooting and magic. How long do you think Angels and Wolves to receive their codex? I think by the end of the year there's a bunch coming out.
Well, I think I could be wrong on it, but I think that they said hopefully 10 before the end of the year.
Yeah. Right, let me quickfire this, then we'll carry on chat while I'm painting because I've done nothing and it's almost 2 hours. All right.
I'll be back in a second.
Yeah. Guess I'm missing the difference between their loadouts. Only difference I saw the aggressors could fire twice and Centurions were a bit tougher. Thought the Power Fists would deal with big things too. Yeah, the Power Fists on the aggressors, well, it's effectively Power Fist, Strength 8, -3, D3. That will deal with stuff. Sam, I think the new stuff will perhaps be covered in the annual chapter approved books. Okay, that's hopefully a good thing then. How long till the new Imperial Guard units that are branded Cadian get renamed? Nothing that aggressors can take.
Because Cadian's now formed.
Cadia is still there, it's just in pieces. Revamped, yeah, okay. Grumbleback saying I would love to see the old old Imperial Guard line revamped in plastic. Talon, Mordian, etc. Steel Legion. I want the Tanith ghosts. If they bring out Tanith ghosts in plastic, I'll do a full army on the day it comes out. Simon, you headed off for takeaway. That's fair enough.
Is that big enough that you can actually make an army out of? I thought that was just a squad that was the sort of focus of a series of novels.
There was a squad based on the novels, but there was a blister pack of 3 models as well. But, you know, if they release a line, if they release Tanith Ghost, there'll be an army's worth. So that's the way I'm thinking. At the minute, between the Imperial Guard, the old regiments, or even the current regiments, I'm torn because there's so many nice ones. Talon are brilliant. Mordians I'm not too fussed. So Talon.
I think you probably see them redoing Catachan
Yeah, Catachan were
or
my
Cadian
favourites.
first. Well, both of them are very, very old kits now, aren't they?
Thank you for subscribing, Oleg. Death Corps of Kriegs were my favourite though. That's Forge World, but they're out now, obviously. Frost and Fist has joined. Welcome, Frost and Fist. Let me quickfire this and then I'll get that model out the cabinet and show you the sheer scale of that thing. Right. Heard rumours of a Primaris flyer. It's interesting.
Well, there was in the Dark Imperium book, there was a lot of there was a big chapter and it was really detailed about something called an Overlord. But it was saying that it made a Thunderhawk look like a toy vehicle. So I don't know if perhaps maybe a Forge World, perhaps it's something they're never intending to actually release.
Maybe in the future they're always going to release stuff, can't they? So, Andrew Begg, appreciate the discussion. I hadn't realised the Aggressors were so low power rating. I was mentally comparing Assault Centurions versus Flamer Aggressors. I think I'm the only one who likes Centurion models. I think I liked the Centurion models. I just like the Aggressor models more now. And between the Bolt Aggressors and the Flamer Aggressors, for me at the minute, I'm looking at the Bolt ones. Because even with the Raven Guard stratagem setup, where I can set up 9 inches away or more than 9 inches away from the enemy, if I want to do the double firing thing that the Aggressors have got, I can't do it with the Flamers. Whereas I can set up 10 inches away, say, with my Bolt Aggressors, shoot twice in the shooting phase, and then still charge. And if I don't charge, if I don't manage to charge in, and the opponent then charges me, I then get to Overwatch, and Overwatch twice with those bolt weapons again. So there's a lot of shots that can come out. Yeah, the Aggressors with that combination is disgusting. The other option was the Flamers. I was thinking if I do the Flamestorm gauntlets, I set up, say, 9.1 inches away, move forwards, because it's a deployment, not a move with that thing.
No, I think, doesn't it say then it counts as that unit?
No, it doesn't. With the other stuff, it does. With this, it says use this stratagem when you can set up a Raven Guard infantry unit during deployment. You can set up the unit in the shadows instead of placing it on the battlefield. At the beginning of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins, the unit emerges from their hiding place. Set them up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches away from the enemy models. So nothing about movement. You've literally set them up more than 9 inches away. So on that first turn, if I roll and I get first turn, I move forward. So I'm within that 8-inch range for the Flamestorm gauntlets. I fire them once. So that's 2d6 hits from every aggressor, and then I charge. If I fail the charge, then the enemy could charge me and I get my Overwatch. But I just think the double shots with the bolt ones are much better, the Bolt Storm.
If I'm honest, Sam, expect that to get FAQ'd if it hasn't already, so that will count as your movement. I think someone's already brought up a similar example, and they've said that if you deploy, that counts as your movement.
Oh.
Just because they don't, and that's why they've always made it 9 inches, is so that no one can just start making things turn one.
See, this is the thing. I'm building these models based on the rules that have come out with these models. And if they go and change it after I've built them and gone, yeah, that's cool, that works out, then I'm like, well, I've got some units that I'm not going to use now because I worked it out based on a rule that they, you know what I mean? It's frustrating that they've done all this play testing over this amount of time, and yet I'm just looking at one of the units and there's something that might be changed in one of the combos that I've looked at. It's frustrating. Anyway.
Let me check that.
You look, I'm going to carry on with the chat. Quickfire, Sam, quickfire. I'm trying, Surreal. Serious Primaris issue. Will they get any of the following? A flying fighter or bomber, a flying transport, or a drop quad equivalent, or a bike equivalent? I hope they have a bike equivalent out of all of that more than anything. I would have done probably White Scars if they had bikes. Sam said he'd start painting. I will do. Once I've got through this, I'm going to get the model, Rachel's new model out the cupboard. I'll show you what it is and how flipping huge it is compared to everything else. And then I'm going to paint, which is just some gloss coats I needed to do. It's like old PCs that had a turbo button on the front. I don't know what that is in relation to. Oh, is that, maybe that's quickfire, I don't know. James is saying rolling ones, you need more captains. Yeah, if I take any sort of plasma, I need a captain nearby. I get, yeah. Oh, it's skipping again. Tanith had one regiment but several companies, so you could do an army, yep. And they were definitely the best regiment. Akaya, welcome Akaya. Life. Sorry I'm late, Life. Don't worry, Akaya, we know you're a busy guy. Thank you for joining. Later books added more forces to them. The core Tanith are dying out though. Yeah, there's only so many of them. Difference between the Collector's Codex and the normal. I don't know what the difference is. Can you Google that for us, please, Pink?
Yeah, sure.
Howling Mad Cat has joined Red Cuffs. Welcome, Howling Mad Cat.
Apparently, you get loads of these other new Primaris units which aren't in the main codex.
Shut up. Nick's put, I'm wondering if Mike is going to turn up again. That must have been when you disappeared. Paint the new model, says Surreal. It's not even... I've got some really interesting ideas with the new model, and I'm not even going to clean it until next week because I've got an idea, and I'm not even going to say what it is right now, but I'm just going to say this new Dreadsaurian Age of Sigmar model may have an influence on my Black Dragons in some shape or form. You'll see what I mean next week if it works, but it's pretty cool if it does. Oh no, Rachel's joined. Uh-oh, Rachel is drunk.
I tell you what, I just opened it on Australian dollars by accident, and I read it as $450. I was like,
wow.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm going to switch
It's still
over to the other camera, one sec, and I'm going to get the model out the thing, so 1 second.
You know we're an hour and 45 in and you're now going to start painting.
Yeah.
Okay, so for everyone on the chat, this is what you get with the limited edition Space Marine Codex. So it's a nicer book, black-edged pages, soft cover. You get an exclusive 96-page hardback, a range of artwork, classic and new. You get some art cards. You get a mini codex, so it's just a little bit easier to carry around with you. And you get a victory and command point tracker for using in games, which I'm just going to have a look, see if... Oh, it looks like it's a couple of wheels that spin around, so you've got left. I mean, it looks very nice, but it is 150. So you've got a really lovely Space Marines.
Okay. We'll do some... we can do tag team, Mike, if you're getting tired. You can get Rachel to come on.
Hey?
If you're tired.
I'm not.
You're just the timekeeper. So, do
Oh,
you
I
know
was
what
just
time
letting you
it
know.
is?
It's just an hour and 45 and then you're now going to start painting.
I've only got some hard coat to do, and I'm just going to show this Dreadsaurian. So, check this out. I can't even get it on the camera because it's too big of a... I can't get it on camera because it's too big, but it's too big of a model. Look at the size of this Dreadsaurian. This is just the body. Let me put this next to a Custodian, and we already know that Custodians are quite big in terms of models. It's just unreal. I'm so scared. And I can't believe that Patrick donated this. Like, literally said, I'm donating the money to buy a Dreadsaurian for Rachel. So Rachel was like, oh yeah, yay, Dreadsaurian. I'm like, yay. Rachel's got a Dreadsaurian.
We're now going to try and get Rachel to ask for Warlord Titans for all of us.
And then, if we look at the head of this thing, it's just, oh my god, I'm in love with it. It's such a nice model. I haven't taken the sprues off, but it does fit underneath there. And the weight of this thing is insane. The head of this is bigger than a Custodian. Madness. And then if we put him next to a Psychery dude, Look at that. That's like a starter for a Dreadsaurian. But the detail on this, let me zoom in. I've got an unboxing coming out fairly soon when I get round to editing it.
Are you going to do a paint series on it, Sam?
Yes, yeah. There's going to be a full series on the entire thing, I think. Is it a Citadel or a Forge World? This is a Forge World model, and I've never bought a model more than £75. I'm going to say this is £150, but it's the biggest model I've ever seen. This will be the biggest model I've ever built, and I'm so looking forward to it. Let me see what people are saying. Rachel needs to send pictures of the new model. Yes, she does. Sam, don't stick bolters on the Dreadsaurians. Well, welcome, guys. This is my new repulsor tank. This is my expensive repulsor tank. No, I'm not doing that. Sam's got something and it's huge. That's not a unit, that's terrain, says Surreal. Rachel's saying it eats custodians for dinner. Susanna West, welcome, Susanna. Thank you for joining. Mike was worried about a Carnosaur, says Rachel. Call it Rory. We will call it Rory because we've got a friend who's now writing. If you don't check out the regimental standard stuff, or generally all of the Warhammer community stuff, our friend Rory has started working there and is writing pretty much all of that now, and is a brilliant guy. But he's hilarious, absolutely hilarious to just talk to and play games with. So this will, I think I'm going to see if Rachel will let me call it Rory.
You're going to spell it the same way as well?
Yes, Rueri Digger.
Is it Welsh Rory? Is that why?
I think so. I know how to spell. He's like got a really complicated way of spelling his name, and I actually know how to spell it. So I was always proud of that. So I used to call him Ruediger because that's how I say it in my head to say it properly. Rachel, I really want a Stormbird model. Can you try and blag donations for me? Patrick donated us the money for it, Akaya. Yeah, Akaya says, when did Sam get the Dreadsaurian? Because Akaya donated some money as well towards getting the Dreadsaurian as well.
Oh, that's very generous of him.
I know, it's been really nice. What noise does the Dreadsaurian make? I don't know, no one's ever heard one. Or at least gone back and reported what it says. If you drop it on another model, it might literally kill the other model. Yes, it will. Just think of all the vids you can do on that thing. Yep, there's a lot. Need to buy a bigger camera. I just need to move it up. However, I've set this up so I could easily do the gloss varnish on these to finish these models off. He can't help but dry assemble it. You can call it Rory. Thank you, Rachel. Rory the Dreadsaurian. Nom 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 nom. Anyway, I don't want to scratch the paint off there. It has huge feet as well. Before we do that, see, it's spelled with a H, Derpinus. It's RHU, and then the rest of it's right. So it's spelled very similar to that, but apparently that's the Scottish version, not the Welsh. Look at his feet. What big feet you have. But the detail on this, I mean, it's insane. All these nice little textures on the claws itself. The scales are awesome. But then you've got these little armour plates that are on his toenails. I like the squeakiness of Pink's chair. That's how I think the Dreadsaurian makes noises. It's like a chair. Oh, look at that. It's just insanely good. And the tail of this thing. Oh, the tail is in two parts. And that's attached to an... Oh no, don't drop that. I can't even get the tail on the camera. Look at that. And that's still attached to the back end of the hair. It's flipping huge. So that is a project and a half. but it's quite an exciting one. The Magma Dragon is also a monstrous beast. I've always wanted the Magma Dragon. That was one of my favourite looking models from Forge World. It's a lot smaller than this, though, I've got to say. I've seen the Magma Dragon in person, and it's nowhere near the scale of this thing. But it is a big one. The other one I quite like is the dragon with the sorceress on the back of it. Can't remember the name. Von Hellsprex or something, Von something or other, I think it is.
I was going to say the Carmine Dragon.
Yeah, that's it. The Carmine Dragon with the woman on the back. Brilliant.
Wait till we get the Corn Lord on the dragon. That thing is huge.
Oh yeah. Definitely need. I'd start a Corn army for that. Just do a bunch of Blood Reavers, not Blood Reavers, the other ones. Blood Warriors, is it?
Yeah.
An army of Blood Warriors and a giant Magma Dragon looking thing. Make it historically accurate and give it feathers. I don't think Dreadsaurian. I mean, if that, you can see why the rest of the dinosaurs were extinct. I don't think it was like a comet that wiped them out.
It was that.
It was
I'm
a
amazed.
Dreadsaurian.
I'm amazed you've been playing with that and you've resisted the temptation to hum the Jurassic Park theme tune.
Oh, that was a missed opportunity.
There we go.
I feel bad now.
Yeah, it'll happen in a battle report.
We normally, I'm going to say, normally when we do any sort of battle report, even if it's like 40k, we just sit and sing the Jurassic Park tune over and over again. The amount of times where I've gone back through the footage and just hear one of us talking, like singing it. We need to get a new theme tune for battle reports.
Yeah, probably can't use that one. Copyright and all.
Imagine if we get done for copyright when we're humming.
No, don't worry. It bears no resemblance to the actual.
It doesn't sound anything like it. So these custodies are practically done. Oh no. I just need to put the gloss varnish on the very many gems which are around these guys' armour. Because we all know that when you put gloss varnish on a gem, it makes them look better. I have been tempted to put gloss varnish on these swords because I know they'll stand out. The problem with that is whenever you put gloss varnish on something and you put it in a case, even when it's dried, it still sticks to stuff. It heats up in the... Yeah, I found that it heats up in the case and it will stick to the foam in the KR cases. Because the Grey Knights, they've all got glossed weapons and they always stick to the foam after I put them in there.
What if you purity seal them afterwards?
And that gets rid of the gloss.
And then you can gloss over the top of the purity seal.
Yeah, then it's going to stick again. That's like saying you get out of the shower, you dry yourself off because you're wet, and then you just cover yourself in water again. Oh dear, you're super intelligent, but sometimes I question whether I'm talking to you or Liam. Right, since I use a 10-inch tall Cthulhu model as a Mauler Fiend, I think a Dreadsaurian can be a repulsor. That's fair enough.
That's okay on Rachel's scale of what's it called, of proxying, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Rachel's level of proxy, and there's a whole new level when Rachel does it though. She's also said you need to get it painted, Sam, so I can get it in my list. Yeah, no worries, Rachel. On top of the rest of the stuff, I'll just get on with it.
You'll do your army one day, Sam.
I would love to start something. I mean, I'm not even doing mine, am I? I'm sitting here painting Rachel's Custodians still.
Trying and finish.
Huh?
You just need to finish.
I know there's not ages left now. I love the Carmine Dragon model. It's been on my to-buy list for ages. Yeah, the other one I quite like is the Merworm or Merwim or something. That's a really nice model.
I like you sounded really brummy there.
Merwim. Yeah, the only problem with that is I can't seem to find a list that it would go with, like a themed list. Rabbit hairs.
What allegiance does it fall under, or is it neutral?
I think they're all monsters, but it's themed wise. You know, you look at a merworm and you think that's got to go with some sort of water army. So potentially it would go with the Karajon Overlords because of they're all like, well, they're nautical, but they're obviously flying around. So you could come up with a reason for why it's there. The other option.
Put a big balloon. Just put a big balloon on its back.
Okay, maybe not that. The other option would be the Dark Elves because they had a lot of or High Elves. They had the ships.
And they had the Hydras.
Yeah, the Hydras. They had like the Black Arcs and the Corsairs. So I was thinking I'd do a Dark Elf army with the Merworm. Sam, how are you going to break down the videos for the Dreadsaurian? Assembly, airbrushing, pinning. Have you decided on a colour? Candy blue. Haven't decided yet what colour it's going to be. I think I'll choose it rather than Rachel because Rachel will just give me some sort of crazy psychedelic colour scheme to follow, and then I'll do it and she'll say, "Why did you do it like that? It looks rubbish." So to avoid that whole scenario, I'm just going to pick my own.
Dreadsaurian of Tzeentch.
Yeah, that's what it'll end up looking like. So that's the colour scheme. I'll have to think about it. In terms of the videos, I'm definitely going to do something on pinning it because it's going to be the biggest kit that I've ever worked on. So I know that there's tons of models and loads of people have worked on bigger kits, but I'll at least film what I've done so that anybody new to a big kit can get a better understanding, and I'll learn while I'm doing it as well. And then I'll do a video on probably just the normal. It'll probably be a premium video, that one, because it's going to be such a big project that it will be a long one. So either I break it down, and the pinning stuff goes on YouTube, but I think the overall paint job will be a full video on the premium site, and I might have parts of it that will go onto YouTube, so like how to paint the detail on the face, or how to paint the horns, or something like that. But the overall video will be a YouTube one. And then, obviously, there'll be every game from then on that Rachel ever plays that will consist of a Dreadsaurian running around and eating people's armies. I was surprised with how cheap it is, actually, for 400 points. With such a big model. I can't believe my Maw Crusher's bigger.
Well, how does its rules look for the actual game itself?
I think it had 4 attacks. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. I can't remember now exactly. It might have been -3 AP or -3 rend with D6 damage per hit. So it's not bad.
I mean, I'm sure it's got lots of lovely special rules, but that doesn't sound overly broken or too scary.
For 400 points, it's good. I mean,
how many wounds has it got?
16, I think. This is all me off the top of my head. It's got another attack, which is something like 2d6 attacks as well. And that's hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, 1 damage, I think, 1 rend maybe. It's got an average sort of attack. Its abilities, I think it gets rerolls to hit of 1 and wound of 1 if you're directing them at monsters. And it reduces the bravery of enemy units within certain range by 2. And every time it causes damage in the combat phase, it heals D3 wounds. I think that's all of its abilities.
That's good.
Pretty sure it's got a 3+ save and 10 bravery, obviously, because that's generally all Seraphon have got.
What keywords does it have? I'm interested to think of what buffs Rachel's going to be thinking of throwing on this thing. I don't know if it's got Seraphon, for example.
I didn't look at any of that. I'll have to check. It's on the Forge World website, so you can always check. We'll have a look afterwards. But now I don't want to stop painting now. I've started. There's a lot of chat. Nick Davidson's doing the Jurassic Park. Do they travel in herds? Slippy Tiger, not seen Jurassic Park, but I still hum it whenever I see anything remotely dinosaur. At least it's remotely dinosaur. We hum it whenever we see anything that's remotely bigger than a Space Marine. So,
to be fair, we even do it with Space Marines. So.
Does it for Primaris now?
Every time you see a Primaris, you've got to sing the theme song. Yeah, it keeps going. Maximus, not seen Jurassic Park. Pretty sure that's heresy. I was going to say something about that, but Rachel's in the same boat. She hasn't seen half of the stuff that she should have watched in her lifetime. I know she's wasting her time with working hard and stuff when she should be watching films like The Godfather. She still won't watch The Godfather.
I hadn't seen that.
You haven't seen it?
No.
You're going to have to sit both of you down and watch it then, aren't we?
That sounds like a date.
You sound really happy for it. Secret Schnitzel, how late am I? You're not. Well, you are late for our normal time. However,
Now we're 45.
This is really long. We're just going on until I finish these, which is not long now, actually. Sam, sometimes you just need to buy and paint a model for the sake of doing just that. I do it all the time. I've got too many miniatures to paint to justify buying one at the moment. I've got obviously the Black Dragons that I need to do, all of the Warhammer Quest models, and they're all going to be tutorials. Generally, I think every single one of those Warhammer Quest models will be a premium video on the website, and then some of that will break down onto the YouTube. So expect to see a huge amount of Age of Sigmar tutorials as soon as I manage to get Rachel's army out of the way and blitz through at least the start of my Black Dragons. We've also got Warlord stuff. We've got the Bolt Action and the Rubicon models for World War II, and that's the whole of the world that me and Mike have entered into, and potentially Pink as well, and Phil, if they want to do the other armies. I know there's the Soviets and the Japanese. Dave's picked up the British, so he'll be doing those. Mike's, obviously, we all know that Mike took Americans from me. What else is in the chat? We need to do a dice cam setup for Phil where he can lay down with the camera pointed down at him. He would
just roll it across his tummy.
Speaking of rabbit hairs, is Stewie out? No, he is not, Rachel. I've been busy trying to keep up with the chat and paint, and obviously we're over the time limit anyway. I'll let him out after this. Surreal saying I think Khaleesi ate him. Rachel, but Surreal with the surprise face. It's my never seen Star Wars. I think I can tell you the story. Oh wow. For those uber nerds like me, the Primaris Chaplain, Apothecary and Repulsor are up on the GW New Zealand, so you can get better views of them now. There was in the codex, there's a nice little picture of a chaplain with a different staff or something in his left hand. I'm not sure if that's part of the model.
So it's like options like you get with the captain.
I'm not sure if it's it could be an option then, or it could be a conversion. The only model I didn't buy out of the new stuff is the captain, and I'm regretting it because I've pre-ordered everything else. And, I've got the captain and the apothecary and whatever else is coming out next week, the repulsor. But for now, I've got so much to get on with. I've told myself that I can't start any of it until I've finished the custodians, because otherwise I'll never go back to these. And at least when these are all painted, I'll have another person to play games with, because Rachel will have a 40k army. Stewie is precious. You started streaming 2 hours ago. Yes, we did. Oh, it's doing that skippy thing again. So Rachel, Sam sacrificed Stewie for the paint gods. You're also missing other one. Surreal says you misspelled delicious instead of precious. Johnsonator, sorry I've missed a lot. Been out for birthday dinner. What's happening? Welcome, Johnsonator. And don't worry, birthday is more important than sitting listening to us nerds ramble on for an evening on a Friday night. So I hope you had a
really
good
has
birthday. We've kind of stayed on topic for most of what we've been talking about. Let's be honest. We talked about death. Not death, but death as in Age of Sigmar. It got dark quick. We talked about the Age of Sigmar death faction. We talked about the General's Handbook. We talked a little bit about Space Marines. We could have done a lot more. We talked about a lot of stuff in between. And I'm actually getting some of this done. I think it's been quite a productive evening. You lot must do the whole theme when you see Zoid's turd. Zoid's turd? Toys? I can't even speak. What's a Zoid turd? Oh, God help me. I think I need to go to sleep. Keywords for Dreadsaurian are Order, Demon, and Celestial and Seraphon. So yeah, you can buff the hell out of it.
Oh my god! Don't tell Rachel. She's in the chat.
She's in the
she?
chat. Yeah, that means she's got to work a list out where she has a Death Star again, where she moves everything within 6 inches of the Dreadsaurian. So nice one.
You'll find it has a 1-up save.
Yeah. Rerollable. Disgusting. Oh, Liam's in there. He's singing Jurassic Park. I love how Liam doesn't watch the show until we start talking about dinosaurs. And his only contribution is making noises. Even if he's not on the chat audibly, he's in there making noises. Oh yeah, we've all discussed that alcohol. How do you what?
How do you sing a tune over chat?
He's put na na. Oh, I was about to sing the Game of Thrones song then in my head. Da 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 da. Me and Rach, when we watched the first episode of the new Game of Thrones, obviously no spoilers, but wait, it's not a spoiler. We started watching it, and both of us started humming the tune as soon as it came on at the same time, and we just looked at each other like we're both sad. We just waited for this entire new series so we could sing the tune.
Why you stuck with each other?
I'd say we're both happy.
Yeah.
And speaking for Rachel there, I hope she's happy. Because if not, we're married. It takes 2 to divorce. Godfather is overrated. No, it's not. It's awesome. Just looked at the pre-orders. The repulsor sprues look a pain. Oh, that's not good.
Have fun
Chris
with that.
Lovo. Chris has joined.
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
We're looking forward to you coming back to the UK. Play some games. Play against the Dreadsaurian.
He's gone back.
Yeah. I'm staying
I'm
here.
out.
Krull is #goat. I don't know what that means. Seen Legend and Rocky Horror. Cried my eyes out at Legend. Yeah, Legend was a really good film, but it was still quite sad. Warlords of Atlantis should be in the list too. Warlords of Atlantis. I've never seen that.
No, I've not heard of that.
And I've seen a lot of films, but Primaris Chaplain seems to only be 1 sprue with no options. So the one in the decks is a conversion. Okay, cheers for that, James. It's a nice
that's
conversion,
good to know.
but I don't know where they got that staff from. It's almost like a marching band. You know, like
Well, that. Oh wait, that one where he's got the little like pom pom stick. Is that not his actual weapon?
No, hold on. It might be the actual weapon.
I think that's his actual weapon.
Let me just look. 1 sec. I'm gonna let you see, and then you can tell me what it is. I'll just clean my brush.
Let me have a look then.
I'm just cleaning my brush because the one thing you don't want to dry on your brush is hard coat.
So what, I can just go on the GW store and just change over to go New Zealand, and then I can see all the stuff I got.
Yeah, hold on though. I'm going to get it up as a picture on here. Oh, it is. It is just the flipping staff. Do you know why I was so confused? It's because that, you know, somebody did the Photoshop of the chaplain with 2 shotguns and said it looks like Reaper. They turned it into Reaper from Overwatch, yeah?
Oh my god, down bit. How much better would that be?
So in my head, I thought, I've just automatically gone, yeah, that's the model, because that's awesome. But the actual model just has a little stick. Let me see if you can.
I was amazed. How small is that stick? I mean, it's probably the right size for a weapon, but we're used to our models having like big buster swords.
Let's see if I can turn off the light if it's a bit better. There we go. So
Sorry.
that's the one with the big stick. Hello, Rach.
Hi, don't mind me.
You just letting Stewie out. Careful of all the cables on the floor.
Oh, that's for him to eat. Yay.
Get that bag's your Dreadsaurian bag. Yeah, I thought you'd move that. So that's the chaplain. Then the one that's later on in the book. Where are you, Mr. Chaplain?
When you see the apothecary, what is that you think he's holding in that little? Is that supposed to be gene seed in a little pod, or?
It's like, right, don't laugh at me, but Morrison's sell this little thing called a cash capsule or something, and it was £2.50, and I thought, you know, on the website it looked kind of big, so I thought, Thanks for subscribing, Sean. I thought that it was a little capsule box to hold like change and stuff in, and you keep it on your keys. So I was like, yeah, I'm buying that. That's well worth it. Turned up, it's this tiny little capsule designed to keep like a single note wrapped up in a half.
Oh, is that what you were showing me and Dave the other day?
Yeah, these little tiny things. So I bought that. It's a cash capsule. And it looks kind of like what that apothecary's carrying around with him. So he's got his cash rolled up inside that.
So how much did they sell you an empty Kinder Egg for?
£2.50.
Yeah.
£2.50 for an empty cash capsule. So that's what the apothecary's carrying around with him. Either that or it's a capsule with gene seed in it, like you say. Oh, here we go. Found it. Right, so this is just the chaplain at a different angle. That's all it is. But it should have had 2 pistols. It would have looked better.
Yep.
I like the chest piece on this dude. It's really nice. Anyway, let me get back to the chat. Repulsor, complicated and are very expensive. And as flyers, I can't realistically deploy my army from them. They just hover. They just hover. They're not fly. Deal high by 10 on fly.
You can still deploy from flyers. There's no problem with that.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't looked at even transport rules yet properly. Graham Riggs joined. Welcome, Graham. Sorry, it's a bit late. Track down the Ultimate Edition of Legend if you can. Another 24 minutes longer. Okay, we'll start and try and find that. Chris Lovell, thinking of maybe starting Space Wolf armies. What do people think would be the best way to start the army? You can buy my Space Wolf 30k army, Chris, for cheap. How about that?
If they've got a get started box, you just can't go wrong with those, can you?
Yeah, the getting started box is a bargain. And mine's 30k models. So if you're playing 40k, you can still use them in 40k, but I've basically got 2 Vindicators, 3 heavy weapon guns, and a couple of, I think, 20 to 40 Marines. So if you'd want any of that, just let me know and we'll sort that out. But otherwise, the £50 getting started boxes are the best way to go every single time. What else is there? Oh, Chris is back now, apparently. We'll head over when I have some money again. Awesome. Okay, there's loads of talk about films, and we can talk for hours about films, and we've already been on for hours, so we won't. Apothecary has a progenoid gland in his hand and a canoptic jar hanging from his wrist. So it's a canoptic jar. Morrison delivers in your area, you posh kid. I didn't even realise that these supermarkets delivered things like that until recently, and it used to be on a Friday. Me and Rachel would go shopping, and it meant that we had to rush back to do the hobby hangout. Now I just get it delivered any day of the week. I'm telling you, this new world is amazing. Shopping, groceries delivered to your door.
Welcome to the internet.
Welcome to the internet. And the thing is, with Morrison's, they turn up at your house, right? They've already unboxed everything from their van, and it's all outside your door in bags before they even ring the doorbell. So they ring the doorbell, pass you everything in bags, which are all labelled for like freezer, fridge, cupboards. They're all separated, and all you need to do is walk it from the front door to the kitchen and then put it all away. It's so easy. It's so lazy, and I love it. We're going off topic again, aren't we? Let me carry on. What's that? Michael Upchurch, thank you for subscribing. We've had a lot of subscribers recently, actually. We're almost on 6,000, which is rather impressive. I am quite happy. And I'm hoping that everyone's enjoying the content. Let us know, actually, what content you enjoy seeing the most. Because I'm trying, we've got the premium part of the website, which is heavily the bigger, longer premium tutorials. And then we've got the other battle reports that go up on there as well. So the premium part of the website at the moment is heavily tutorials and battle reports. And there's extra bloopers and extra chats. We're aiming to put separate discussions like these that we do on a Wednesday and a Friday. We're looking at doing those on the premium. So there's more for that, as well as having more updates and sit and chat sort of things. So that's what we're trying to do for premium. In terms of YouTube, we've got everything else. So it's all the unboxings, reviews and discussions, the odd battle report and very small tutorials. But let us know in the comments if you're watching this afterwards, and now if you're in the chat now, what you actually prefer to see. Like, what do you come to the channel to see, other than us talk nonsense? Like, what would you want to see from us, and what would you like to see more from us? Because it gives us a better indication of what we can spend our time doing. Anyway.
The limitations of what we're allowed to put on YouTube.
Yes, it's obviously got to be family friendly. The top piece of the chaplain's beat stick is separate, so you could stick something else on it, more substantial.
A pom-pom.
Yeah. The head of your enemies.
That'd be a great idea.
You could use that in an Eisenhorn conversion as well, that's cool. The progenoid gland looks like a Metroid. Chris, we'll message you over Facebook about your model, Sam. No problem. I sold, who is it? Russ, to Stalker 40k. He messaged me saying, I'll take Russ off you. So I was like, yeah, cool, no worries. And he was like, I'll buy it off you for whatever price it was. I was like, that's practically Forge World. I'll sell it you for cheaper than that. He was like, no, I'll pay. I want to support you. I was like, no, it's fine. And then he was like, I'll pay postage. And I'm like, no, it's fine. So I just like insisted to send it out to him. So he actually got a cheaper price, because it was like, you could just buy it from Forge World for almost the same price. So that was nice of him to buy that. So the rest of the Space Wolves army, I'm not going to play 30k Wolves again, and I'm not going to design them for 40k. So I'll get rid of them. And I've got my word bearers to play for 30k anyway. Food. What's this? Now imagine a Samus Aran inspired medic paint job, yes. Weatherspoon's app also have an app now, so you can order drinks and food from your table. Wow, that's awesome. Nick Davison, food will still be undercooked if my local is anything to go by. Yes. And contain other stuff that shouldn't be in your food. Lauren's Coulter, Rachel and her Seraphon army. So I think that's the first person who said they want to see more. So that's all we need then. Just Rachel with her Seraphon. It's going to get really bad, isn't it, when every single viewer and comment says, we just want to see Rachel, please.
Just the Dreadsaurian.
Just the Dreadsaurian. Every single game we see the Dreadsaurian.
Host the chats as well, please.
That's going to be a lot of work doing a voiceover for that. Rory the Dreadsaurian. Secret Schnitzel, 30k, though the models have no intention to play. Derpness Maximus. My sister used to work at a Spoons. Food will be microwaved if her experience is anything to go by. Ryan Benfield. Bigger battle reports would be cool. Maybe Apocalypse at some point.
I'd love to do an Apocalypse game.
We can definitely. The problem at the minute is we are obviously new to the rules, as everybody is, and filming the battle report isn't as easy as it may seem at first, so we're still learning how to do that properly. We're looking at tweaking our setup a little bit more to include at least one extra camera, but to make the filming process easier. It's going to be harder on the editing process, but I think overall it means we can have guests into the studio, because at the moment we're very limited to who can play games because of the way that we do it. So once we've sorted that out, that requires Phil to set up something new and make sure we can get it all working. But once that is done, we should be able to film bigger games a hell of a lot easier and have more varied players and armies in the games, which will be great as well. That is the biggest investment in time and effort in this channel, though, is filming and editing the battle reports, because obviously we've done the 5 camera setup at the moment, which isn't easy to edit. I think every battle report, even the 1,000 point games, they're about 10 hours work at minimum at the moment. So it takes a lot of time for me to sit and do all of those. So I'm hoping to fine tune it either by the filming process, or I just get better and quicker at editing. Brain Spider. I want to see Rachel paint her Dreadsaurian. That is not going to happen. She can paint any model, but not the £150 resin monster that's going to be an absolute joy to paint. I'm not watching her dip it. It's not going to happen. I just can't. I can't justify that. I want to. Oh, it says just ordered some Mark II assault squads and a Leviathan Dread with 2 Cyclonic Melter Lancers and 2 Grav Thingies.
Oh, nice.
The Leviathan is one of the nicest looking models, I think.
Yep.
You know, out of all of
Totally
the
agree.
miniatures available, that is one of the cool. And at first, I was a bit iffy. I thought it was like a barrel with legs, and now I'm in love with it. Kiblams, bat reps, and these shows, so chats and bat reps. Maybe I could just skip doing tutorials if people don't really want them. I'll have to see a bigger range. I might have to do a poll or something and collect some information from as many places as possible and get a better idea on what people prefer to see. Because if there's a huge amount of, it's more chats and bat reps, we can reduce the rest of them. You know, if we've got premium members paying £3 a month for all of our content and the majority of them want to see chats and bat reps, we can focus on releasing those. Do a little bit of almost like a survey.
Yeah, find out what the customer wants.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's no point me just releasing a long, 20 to 30 minute tutorial that takes a lot of time to paint, a lot of time to edit, releasing that once every week, and nobody's actually really that bothered about it. I'd rather spend my time doing stuff that people are interested in. Nick Davidson, just use the T-Rex sounds from Jurassic Park for Rory. Right, I'm just going to switch over because that's that. There we go. Okay, so that should have switched over now. Now I can carry on reading this and we can wrap this up fairly soon. Been a long one tonight. Has anyone seen the prices for GW in New Zealand? They're mad. Like double in the UK, sod being a Kiwi geek. That's a shame. Frost and Fists. Sam, my brother, I'm feeling a distinct betrayal at this turn on the Wolves. It's nothing personal. I love the Wolves, but I haven't got enough time. And, the money that I'll get from them will pay for the next stage of Sigmar army. So in the future, I might potentially do another Wolves army. But for now, I've got Black Dragons to do for 40k, then all the Warhammer quest, and then it'll be starting the new Age of Sigmar army, and then another 40k army. So potentially in the future. Review of the codexes and maybe some list building. Might want to do the latter in premium. I think list building would be very good to have Pink involved for those. So, Pink,
Yeah,
if you're
happy. I think the codex reviews would be good. Just going through it and sort of saying what pops out to you and stuff like that.
Because we can just sit down with the codex and go through it bit by bit, can't we? We could do a full review of the codexes.
We'll just spend an afternoon doing it together, write some notes up, and then we'll just film an hour or so.
Mm-hmm. If we do that, I mean, Space Marines, there's so many units in there. So we could go over some very quickly, and others we could go into a bit more detail. We'll definitely look at doing that. Let me write this down, actually, before I carry on going. I've got a family of little spiders in my room. They've been here for weeks. They just kind of crawl out over the desk and say hello and then go back away. I'm dreading when they turn into giant, like, hand-sized spiders. And Alright, so what was it? This is how bad my memory is. Codex reviews. Codex reviews. List building. Some of this stuff will obviously, it dates very quickly. That's the only problem with these, but I think they should be good for us to do. What was it? Longer battle reports, which means longer editing. Ones. When you think about this as well, an hour and a half to a 2 hour filming of a game equates to about 10 hours of editing. So for a longer game, that's only going to make it longer, basically. So when you're looking at an Apocalypse game that might take 4 to 6 hours, you're looking at 20 to 30 hours of me editing one battle report. And when it's me doing all of the editing and everything else at the moment, especially because Phil's out of it, it's difficult to plan all of that.
We're getting back onto that third world problem, Sam.
Third world problems. Well, it is difficult. I know you think it's easy, Pink, sitting there in your tower,
we've just got to get better.
able to create, armies. I'd love to be able to paint armies pink like you.
Paint?
Paint.
No, my paint's terrible. I'm batch painting it.
Brain Spider likes bat reps as they are. Need more Blood Bowl. Could be a premium perk. Only 12 to 14. Yeah, we could definitely do that. So maybe Blood... Oh, no, I just broke my pencil. Blood Bowl. Premium. I have got a Wood Elves team that I've planned for that, so I could do that. So this is Secret Schnitzel. Would running a Leviathan with 2 Cyclonic Melters next to Vulcan Hastan be considered cheesy or power gamey?
What does Vulcan let you do with melters then? 'Cause I've not seen.
Let me have a look. I've got it here. Yeah. So Vulcan says you can re-roll failed hit and wound rolls for friendly salamander models within 6 inches of Vulcan that are firing melter or flame weapons.
And it just says, does it say with this chapter tactic right there, or is that just
For friendly salamander models. So it would just be a salamander model.
I've got the Imperial Armor books. Let me just check it counts as a. It sounds like it's going to count as a melter weapon, but it's going to have to. They might have to define it.
Rachel, you need to finish your Orc of Doom and field it. Kablams is saying the reviews. So the reviews are very personal. That's the only thing, because we review them how we see the products. So we don't do negative reviews. If we don't like something, we generally won't review it, or we will pick out the positives. We don't want to crush somebody's. We don't want to crush a business or say bad things about a business's products when it could be perfectly good for somebody else, but not great for us. So that's the only thing with reviews to know. Board games and RPGs as premium content. That's another one as well. So maybe that. Board games, RPGs. See, Pink, you did a D&D campaign, didn't you? And that was only a short one that we did, but we could do things like Frostgrave, which is like a mix between skirmish and RPG.
Yeah, I'm keen for something like that. I think that would be good.
If I just throw Frostgrave books at you and say, can you plan this out? And then we just film it on a small board, we can easily do that, I think.
I was actually checking out some Frostgrave stuff the other day, and I saw one of Kablam's videos, a little bit about the how to build your wizard, and I thought that was quite cool.
We could do the list building for that as well, or character building. The procrastinating painter. He's from New Zealand, so he knows the pain. Once you've had John Snater, once you've had shopping delivered, you'll never go in store again. If you started playing board games, I'd head up to Wargamer Online to play with them for those. Yeah, I mean, in terms of board games, we've got a lot. We've got what's the zombie one? Zombicide?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Zombicide. We've got what's that? Endure the Stars. That was a good one that we reviewed recently. I'd definitely play that. We have. So we've got board games and we've got RPGs. In terms of RPG sort of skirmish games, you know what? So others. We've definitely got Blood Bowl to play. And with that, there's Guild Ball as well. RPG and skirmish sort of games, I'd probably say it's going to be Frostgrave first out of anything. But then there's the potential to do things like Armageddon. And then
you got that Wild West Exodus as well.
Yeah, I think before Wild West Exodus though, we've got what's the Age of Sigmar skirmish game, or is it just Warhammer Skirmish?
Well, you've got Silver Tower as well.
So that's more RPG. So Silver Tower, that's definitely going to be up there. There's Warhammer Quest, really, isn't it? We've got loads of that to do.
Yep.
But then
we've got lots of minutes for that.
There's also Warhammer Skirmish, which is really good to build a little warband and play some skirmish games. So I think in terms of skirmish and RPG, we've got Frostgrave, Armageddon, Warhammer Quest, and Warhammer Skirmish. All of those will do. Other types of games, I think at the minute there's Blood Bowl and Guild Ball, potentially. Board games, Zombicide and Endure the Stars, but I'm sure there's more. And then normal games, the big stuff that we would play majority would be 40k, AOS, and Bolt Action.
Yeah, I mean, that's plenty to go on with.
That's more than enough content. Let's see what else there is. Can you do a wet blending tutorial? Says Chris. I've done one on red paint, how to paint a red robe with wet blending. I'm not the greatest at wet blending, so I've done what I can. It looks okay, but there's definitely better places out there that will teach you how to do wet blending better than me. There's a good channel called Cujo Painting, I think it's called. And he's insanely good. Huh?
It's very good of you to admit that.
Oh, I know I'm not the greatest painter. I do simple stuff well. I don't do competitive onwards because I've never.
Yeah.
I don't do the competitive stuff. I do army painting to a decent standard.
Your videos are more for the average Joe rather than
competition painters. I think if you've got, like I say, there's people out there like Ben Comets. He did Painting Buddha, and Painting Buddha is an amazing channel if you want to see like top level painting advice. But I'm not there, so I'm not going to even attempt to teach stuff at that level when I'm better at doing what I do. So unfortunately, you'll have to go somewhere else for that, Chris, for now. One day, hopefully I can do it. Rachel's put Monopoly. No, we're not playing Monopoly, Rach.
I'm surprised she's not put Magic.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's a whole different ball game. So in terms of board games and card games, we've got Magic. I really quite like Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's very basic. As in, like, you play the same stuff over and over again. But there's also Dice Masters, which is a lot of fun. I didn't realise how much fun Dice Masters was going to be. So we've got Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Dice Masters there for card games, which I would actually love to play because they're quick to do. Payday, that's one of Rachel's favourites. Cards Against Humanity, we could do it, but that's going to be like... No, we can't. We can't do that on the internet. That we get very, very dark.
Yeah, there's no way we can do that.
There's no way we can do that. No. UK Pagan, welcome UK Pagan. Thank you for joining us.
I've never even heard of half of these. I've got on it.
That's a person who's in the chat. That's not a game.
No, I know.
Walking Dead, that's another one we've got. That's very similar to the Zombicide sort of game. So the Walking Dead. Cheeks, we've got Cheeks already because obviously Mark created that. So that's at the studio. That's within picking up distance. Just live stream the bat reps as surreal. It's a long battle report for one.
Yeah, if you want to watch it for like 4 hours and properly scream at everyone for not knowing their rules.
We have to check stuff. We have to go through. It's boring to watch a live stream. You know, if you do it like Games Workshop where you turn off the sound and there's just massive breaks in between playing games and you don't actually know what's going on, so you don't know what rules are being played wrong, then we can quite easily do that. But if you want to see us play a game and discuss stuff, then we have to edit it, unfortunately. Cosmic Encounter is a great board game. Write that down. There's hundreds of board games. This is the thing. We could do one a month. Different game every month. Blood Rage.
That's not a bad idea.
Good. Yeah,
have a gaming
one a
evening.
month.
We'll do a review.
Don't kill the spiders. When they grow up, they'll remember kindness. This is what I mean. There's a whole family of spiders in the corner at the moment.
They'll remember weakness. And they'll come for your blood.
They will come for me. Why is Pink called Pink? Because he's Mr. Pink. Because we've all got colours. And Mr. Pink is Mr. Pink.
What's your colour, Sam?
I don't know. What colour would I have?
Brown. Mauve.
What? What?
Mauve.
Is that because I'm dull and boring?
I don't even know what mauve is actually, to be honest. Is it all purple colour?
Just trying to be intelligent. I'd like purple. I like purple. The colour purple is nice. We'll go with that.
No, you didn't like purple.
What would
You
Mike?
could be purple.
What would Mike be?
Rainbow.
Black. He'd be black.
Rainbow.
Black or blue, I think Mike would be. Or grey. Grey is the colour he wears the most. Because he's got one t-shirt that he wears quite a lot. Black, because he's always in the dark. So that's, that's one. But I think blue, because
You're describing Batman, you realise this?
black, grey and blue. So we've found out today that Mike is Batman.
We're also describing sexual predator, Mike. So.
Family friendly, Pink. Nick Davidson is saying, who is Mr. Blonde? Sam's obviously Mr. Ginger. And Sam's colour equals Mr. Ginger. That's two of them. Okay, I'm Ginger. Rusty orange.
That's good. I like that one.
Magic Mike would be Rainbow. And Rachel saying, but I'm Miss Ginger. Okay, what else have we got? Sam, if you guys like, I could head down for a weekend and we could do a marathon. All flesh must be eaten game. I hope that's Walking Dead and not just a game that you made up. But yes, that sounds very good. I'm honoured, Mr. Pink, for watching his Frostgrave. Also, here from New Zealand, nearest GW takes me over 2 hours to get to. That's a shame. Could try X-Wing, yeah, that's another one I'd quite like to try. I'll write that down.
Paint them yourself.
They come pre-painted, so we could play games without needing to worry about it, but you can always go over and repaint them.
Cool.
Oh, and on top of that, we've also got the Star Wars game. What was that called that we've already got?
Imperial Assault?
That's it. Yeah, Imperial Assault. Dave bought like the whole game and then tons of expansions for it as well.
Before playing any of it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, right. Rachel's put a list.
That's why she's the MD.
Okay. Sounds like you've got about 5 years of stuff. It is. Would like to see the WGO team playing Pandemic. I'd go premium to watch that. We've got Pandemic Legacy to play, George. So, that is something we can definitely play because we haven't even started it yet. Maybe, do you want to do that, Pink? We play that and film that for the channel.
Is that the game you can only play once?
You can only play it once, but it would be a good one because we can meet up once a month maybe and play a game for that, film it, and then update and then just upload it all up on the premium.
Yeah, no, that sounds great.
So Pandemic Legacy. Pokemon is better than Yu-Gi-Oh! I never played Pokemon because... Pokemon the game is amazing. I'm obsessed with Pokemon, but not Pokemon the card game. I just used to sell them to make money when I was at school. Hero Quest.
You sold them?
Oh yeah, I was like a drug dealer when it came to Pokemon cards. I'd go into school with my booster packs and sell them individually and make a load of money. Sit on the corner with shiny Charizard and just make people bid for it. It was amazing. Commander is a great Magic format for videos. Yeah, we've only got 2 Commander decks. We could always buy more. Tim Lawrence, Night Models, Batman miniature game. I love those miniatures. I need to get the Superman. I think that's from the Night Models set. Frost and Fist says, Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, Sam, I love you again. So, as long as I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Space Wolves, I'm all good in terms of Frost and Fist. This stream is going on 3 hours. Wow, it is. We need to call it. Surely Mike would be red for the stripper connection. It's true. Mike is the knight. He is Batman. So, Brain Spiders put Sam equals Mr. Orange, Pink equals Mr. Pink, Mike equals Mr. Dead Stripper, and Phil is Mr. Red. Oh, jeez. And it said the chat's going downhill. Oh no, the chat has gone so far from its starting point. Mike, and then Rachel's spot, I think it turned when I joined. It did, Rachel. Rachel is Miss Psycho Buddy.
On the internet.
This is why Rachel needs to be part of the live stream to keep things from going off track. If anything, they've gone off track with Rachel here. What colour is
You have
dead
a late night
strip?
version of the chat with Rachel.
Now I have a mental image of Sam as the guy from Resident Evil 4 that sold weapons. That's what I would be in any sort of end of the world situation. I would be somewhere holed up with goods to sell. The stream will never end. It's only midnight. I wonder if Sam has ever had a day in his life where someone didn't remind him he was a ginger. And then Nick Davidson, no ginger ever has a day like that. Maybe that's why Rachel married him. She understood his pain. Her name is Cousin It. It's just this chat's going out. So I actually got more ginger when I married Rachel. I think it was the day I got married to her. It was quite like a brown beard. And then as soon as I married Rachel, it was like, you're ginger now. And it just went really bright ginger. Because my hair is brown, which is weird.
That's confirmation then that it's infectious.
It is infectious. So my hair is brown, but my beard is ginger. It's just crazy. And in sunlight, it's even brighter. But I ain't dying it. Nick Davidson's marrying a ginger. Well, that's after her name is Cousin It. So Nick could be marrying Cousin It or a ginger. I married both. I married a ginger that looks like Cousin It. Okay, it's almost midnight. We're going to have to call this one. Thank you to everybody who has joined this stream as long as it has been. I apologise for how long this has been. Thank you to everybody who has liked the video and commented and stuff, because it's always appreciated. If you're watching this back, please feel free to comment anything below for the 3 hours that this has been going. Thank you to everybody again who's subscribed to the premium on the website. And as we've just discussed, there's a hell of a lot of stuff on the way. It's just a matter of time for me to get it all filmed, edited and released. So I apologise with the time, but there's a lot of stuff on there already. There's quite a lot of premium videos, and I'm doing my best to release as much as I possibly can. What else is there to thank? Thank you to everybody. Thanks to Mike and Pink. Mr. Pink.
You got who I was there, didn't you?
No, I was going to say Mr. Dead Hooker. So thanks to Pink and Mike. There's more chat going. I can't read it all. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. So we're not back till Tuesday. I'm not going to say Phil's going to do a Monday musing because I don't know what state he's in. I haven't spoke to him. So hopefully he's there on Monday. If not, it will be Tuesday back again with us. And other than that, have a wonderful weekend. Join the Facebook group, post some progress, and we'll see you all later. I want to run it till midnight just so I can say we've gone till midnight, but it's not going to happen. So,
well, not now. You cut it off.
We could just carry it on now and just forget the pleasantries at the end. No, we're going to leave it. I'm going to go and finish doing something productive other than droning on about nonsense and just wasting almost 60 people's worth of their evening. So, see you later, people.
See ya.
Bye.